What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of The Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about Grand Theft Auto. A bunch of information came out today about the pre-order, how much it costs, what they're locking behind a $20 Ultimate Edition. We'll talk about that. We're going to watch a video of Jason Schreier talking about why everyone wants live service games. And then we're also going to watch a video from Clownfish TV talking about Microsoft thinks you're dumb and you're forcing you to do this. So if you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We just read the stories, watch the videos, give you my thoughts and opinions, and get your thoughts and opinions as well. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for showing up. Let's see who's all here. Altern, Travis, Eclipse, good morning. Sarge, Jesse Mack, Jason, just enough. Aku, good morning. Who else am I missing? Anybody else? Big Mo, what's going on? I think that is everybody that's been talking so far. I appreciate it very much. We tried a couple different songs. The last song about the GTA effect had a little bit of... I'm trying something out when making the music now. I'm trying to see if I can make the same band, right? To have like an album of the band with the same type of songs. I don't know if I like it because it's taking the AI in the very beginning made from my last song that I made almost the same opening as the other one. So I was like, I don't know about that. So I gotta go back and change a couple things, but it had a good chorus line and stuff like that. So the GTA effect, nice name. Yeah, it's the GTA effect. I like that. I like the chorus and stuff like that. It was just the opening. The opening was the exact same riff and chord progression as it. And I was like, yeah, we're going to have to change that. So what's going on, chat? I don't know if you guys knew, but this morning, GTA, even though pre-orders start tomorrow, they've come out with a lot of information. Everyone, I mean, even Krebsy woke up early today and was posting news. Like, Krebsy doesn't usually even wake up this early in the morning. And if he does, he doesn't talk in Discord. But GTA, this is like Christmas for him. Christmas in June. Okay. So they said a couple things. They gave price points. We're going to go over this stuff. What are your guys' thoughts so far? What you saw on the web, right? The GTA effect just fools you. That's just the hype. The hype is much higher for this game than any other game because it's GTA, right? It's been 13 years. The last game that came out, it's one of the most successful well, actually, it is the most successful piece of entertainment. It's one of the most popular games ever bought. Only game that beat it is Minecraft, as far as copies sold. I saw what you said up above, Travis. You said because it won't live up to what people have in their minds. I think it will. I think it'll exceed people's expectations. Rockstar, if you can say what you want about any other company, right? I don't think this game comes out broke, buggy, and unfinished in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Are there going to be glitches? There's always been glitches. Are there going to be game breaking? Do I think we have another Cyberpunk or Skull of Bones on our hands? Absolutely not. Okay? That's not what Rockstar is going to do. They're just not going to do it. So it'll be very interesting to see how the game comes out and how it's perceived when it comes out. But I don't think we're going to have a broken, buggy game in any way, shape, or form. I don't. Because Rockstar has never really dished out a broken, buggy game to the extent of other games that have come out, right, for AAA. But this is the outlier. Now, the problem is the price, okay? So let's go over here. The price that we have right now, or that people are talking about. Let me go to their site here. We'll go to Grand Theft Auto. All right, so we have an Ultimate Edition, and we have the pre-order bonuses and stuff like that. The pre-order bonus, you get the Vintage Vice City pack. Pre-order to get unique benefits that flash back to when the neon burnt bright. Okay, so you have... This is all the stuff you get. You get the car. You get some outfits like you're in Miami Vice. Outfits and hairstyles. Okay. You get the channel of the original Kingpin. You get the, from back in the Vice City for the weapons. That's what you get for pre-order bonus. Okay. As far as the Ultimate Edition goes, the Ultimate Edition welcomes a state where anything goes, sees everything. This is a massive world as it offers a Grand Theft Auto 6 Ultimate Edition's exclusive collection of premium vehicles, weapons, apparel, action around every corner. The Ultimate Edition bonuses are trying to cross all aspects of Jason, Lucia's story, and new items uncovered behind each chapter. So as you play, there's content behind it. So you got a vehicle here, right? You get the cheetah. You can only get this if you get the Ultimate Edition. You get the Hawk and Little Morgan revolvers. Okay, you can only get this if you get the Ultimate Edition. Personalized variants. Okay, you get some sidearms there. You get Vice City styles, whether or not poolside by Jason and Lucia. They look part of the exclusive outfits, tattoos, and more. Okay, you get Jason's safe house vehicles. Switch gears and soak up the sun in an army fatigue Dinka or motorcycle. Okay, we have the Grando retro build. Inject some muscle and classic styles into Jason's well-worn. Okay, you got that as well. You get the Ride Out Customs. Transform vanilla vehicles into magnificent works of art with detailed interiors, exquisite whims, okay, styles, and only open for business with the Ultimate Edition. So this one customization, if you guys remember playing GT Online, there was like one place you could really go to get certain things, right? They're locking this behind a $20 paywall for Ultimate Edition. Okay, so if you're playing the standard edition, which is $80 now you got to pay $100 to get to the custom shop, right? And remember, this is a single player game. We're not talking about online now. We're talking about the single player game. If you want to access this customization thing, that is behind a paywall for $20. Okay, then you also have the unisex saloon, which is also saloon styles, both Jason and Lucia, including facial hair, Jason's makeup, and nails, and Lucia only open for business with the Ultimate Edition. You also get the perfect for casing and gambling, a bay of reeling and catching of sorts, pink and blue. The dock, Washington Beach, is made open to ocean ready with the explosive laid weapons create. Okay, so this is, again, only in the Ultimate Edition. Stock 305 styles, various unique exclusive looks for Jason. So, again, these looks are only for $20 more. You have the buggy here. The Mud Club Monster, offering impressive off-road handling and backwoods. Okay, you only get that in the Ultimate Edition. You get the Electric Fang Tattoo Shop. That's only in the $20 Ultimate Edition. And then you get the One Eye Willie's. This mod shop is in Lake. Specializes in off-road modifications and hand-painted automatic. Again, $20 to get that. All right, so you get all of this. Okay, you get the illegal store. We can get better weapons and whatnot. Classic car collection. All right, that is all behind. Everything you just saw here is behind a paywall of $20 extra. So I know what you're saying. Well, it's cosmetic. You don't really need it. This is a single-player game, right? This is a single-player game. And they're locking stuff like this behind the paywall, right? And then, obviously, they haven't even spoken about the online, which they did with Grand Theft Auto 5 as well back in the day, right? Grand Theft Auto Online didn't launch directly with GTA 5. It launched, I want to say, like 2 weeks afterwards. And then it was broke, like completely sealed. Maybe it was even a month afterwards. It's a long time since then, right? And then, obviously, they've continued supporting the online afterwards. It took 18 months to get the bank robberies to work properly inside the actual game. But this is just, all the stuff for the Ultimate Edition. Now, the Ultimate Edition locks off exclusive missions, shops, but how will it work? Right, this is from IGN. It says, imagine walking around Vice City and seeing alluring-looking closed stores you're in only to stop the door because you don't have the correct membership. That's what you'll face in GTA 6 if you don't choose to buy the Ultimate Edition. This is sort of like what happened in Hogwarts Legacy 2 when it was exclusive for PlayStation, like a mission, which is probably one of the better missions. You as the customer, right, regardless if you're playing it, whatever platform you're playing on, you would walk up to a door inside of the town and you couldn't go in because it was locked off for just PlayStation at that time. Okay, you didn't pay more, they didn't pay more, it was just locked off. This is what it's going to be like that, but you have to pay $20 to get in. We're finally starting to find out more information about GTA 6 ahead of November 19th launch. Recent details listed that Rockstar's website have raised questions about the power of the Ultimate Edition, though. Namely, the fact that several of its open-world business appears to be locked off from players if you opt in to buy a standard edition. Pre-order bonuses and cosmetic gifts are no new thing when it comes to video games, but the wording here, only open for business with the Ultimate Edition, it seems like a certain shop, saloons, tattoo parlors won't be accessible unless you own a more expensive version. So, how might this work? And will some players feel like they're missing out and not spending those extra dollars? He says, we're used to pre-orders and special edition exclusives by now, and indeed, Rockstar is no stranger of having offered a hardened warhorse or even harder in-game cash for Red Dead Redemption 2, those who also purchased the game before launch. But I think the other game that also has stopped you from stepping foot into the building before it was part of the open world. Now, these include Sarah's Unisex Saloon, which also has players get special hairstyles for both Lucia and Jason. The Stock 305 clothing store, which also provides unique, exclusive, elevated streetwear. Electric Fang Tattoo Shop, which also home to design draw by the real-world artist Collective Fail. Quite how GTA 6 will handle these shops remains to be seen. But there are some pretty obvious ways this may work. Either the doors will be locked and you can't get in, or the store couldn't literally be closed for business for no merchandise in a standard edition of the world. Or you could walk around these stores' interiors without actually being able to make a purchase. Well, what's the point of going in? Perhaps the shop assistants will ask you to purchase a membership, which will turn in and take you to PlayStation. Will ask, okay, well, you can walk in, but then upgrade your edition, right? PlayStation or Xbox store page for the Ultimate Edition upgrade. Okay, it says, will this sort of perceived VIP exclusivity affect how Rockstar's new iteration of GTA Online will work? However, Rockstar has approached this. This comes as a single player. It's all pretty simple, cosmetic, look good. But it was a sort of perceived VIP exclusivity affecting how Rockstar new iterations of GTA Online will work. The current GTA Online community is one with a great amount of creativity, sense of humor, but it also has some word filled with griefing. The ecosystem is built around players' expressions, identity, with money very much being fueled that fires in both virtual and physical sense. Therefore, being able to show off what you have access of haircuts, threads, and ink, and other players don't, will be also tempting for those who do. For those who also choose to do so, may also be at their own risk in my mind. It says, I already see hordes of players sitting outside the Ultimate Edition exclusive Stock 305, open only for people deemed worthy for entering, waiting for VIP customers to walk into the street and into the hail of gunfire, exploding slabs of C4, and perhaps the front of the muscle car. It's a dog-eat-dog world there, and also I wouldn't be shocked to see if you eat the rich mentality permeated through the community. It says, this isn't necessarily a concern of mine, but more of a prediction. If you put yourself out there to be noticed, don't be surprised if you get unwanted attention to. But there's also another Ultimate Edition bonus that also may be more concerned to fans of the campaign, and the first solid point towards some of the Grand Theft Auto 6 mission may look like. We can all assume that infer from the two previous trailers that we're getting involved in the standard Grand Theft Auto mix of car chases, gunfights, bank robberies, but now it seems that the gang compounds are being even added to the mix. It suggests that harking back to the HD era of the series, such as Vice City and also San Andreas, with the gangs played a huge part of the stories, and taking of our properties and areas of the map served as key mechanics, but Standard Edition players seamlessly won't get to access those as the mission, suggesting they may well be more like side activities rather than playing crucial roles in the plot. The exclusive infiltration features, one is the loudest, most socially active gang, PTT Youngins. As Ultimate Edition, players will be tasked with finding a way to rapid the PTT Youngins' legal goods stores in the south side of Vice City and escape safely to score some special items distinct contraband. Whereas a fully expected GTA 6 launch with cosmetics that only come and get your hands on, I have to say, a little surprised to see gameplay content locked behind certain editions. It feels like we've long moved from the missions of levels but tied in editions of platforms since Rockstar's last game. GTA 4's Lost of the Dam and Ballad of Gay Tony being Xbox exclusives for a year jumps into mind over DR2's Rhodes Bank missions being a special edition exclusive. So it's an intriguing move from the studio to bring you sort of thing back. Time will tell if this is in-game opportunity will eventually become available to all, but never really fan of the things that also keep away from some players in a single-player game. But I'd be lying to say if I was dampened my excitement for GTA 6 by any meaningful amount. I'm sure that the Ultimate Edition bonuses will be enough to tip me into buying more expensive version. This is the whole point of it, after all. If any game series understands how capitalism works, it's GTA. So what do you think? I'm planning on GTA 6 Ultimate Edition for $100 or opting in for a cheaper $80 standard edition has you extra content pushed for you buying the version over the other. Let me know in the comments. So I have a fundamental problem with this, right? I get it, right? It's the most important game in the last 15 years. GTA, people are really excited about it, but taking content and putting it behind the content, that means it's the full content. The full content, everyone's like, oh, it's an $80 game. No, it's a $100 game. If you want all the content, it's $100. So I understand they're putting Ultimate Edition there, but you're locking off content in a single player game. So that means the content is not content complete in the $80 version. It's content complete in the $100 version. So we have ourselves, even though they're calling it the Ultimate Edition, a $100 video game. Because if you want all the content as a single player person, then you have to pay the $100. Or you're like, I don't really care about the cosmetics. I don't really care about this car. We don't know if they're going to add it in later. You could buy it separately down the road. Okay, we don't know if there's a time exclusive or 6 months, 8 months, 100, 1 year after. The point is, we now have $80 video games, right? I understand Mario Kart's there, and other people have tried it, but they were all waiting. Remember, they needed Grand Theft Auto to be $80 so everybody else could be like, hey, we're also going to make $80 video games, right? So, I don't know, man. This leaves, just like the Steam Deck yesterday, left a bad taste in my mouth about the Steam Deck, about being $1,000. I'm like, I was interested, and now I'm not interested. And now I'm not interested in this, right? Truly, I'm not interested in GTA 6 because, one, it's $80. And two, it's $100. Right? So I'm a little disappointed on this. Let me go to the chat. What do you guys think about the $80? I mean, obviously, we thought it was going to be $80. The industry needed it to be $80. Let me scroll back up here, see what you guys are saying. Good morning, Wonder Rose. Let's see. Sarge says, blah, blah, digital shit, don't care. Oh, that's another thing, right? This is all digital. There is no hard copy of the game. If you buy a hard copy of the game, you get the case, but you get a digital code to put in. So there is no hard copy. So why are we pre-ordering? Why are we pre-ordering? That's my question. Altern says, this is why games should not take 15 years and $1 billion to make, because we have bullshit like this. They're forcing you to buy $100 edition. Well, no, they're not forcing you. They're not forcing you, Altern. It's your choice. You don't have to get it. Jason says, no real physical edition is big disappointment for me, though. Altern says, this is the single player. Imagine how greedy the online will be. Eclipse says, yeah, because the online won't come out day one for sure. Jay Breezy says, what's going on, Jay Breezy? Good morning. Says the saving money and taking our money. Sarge says, greed, Jason, the most popular game with no physical copy, just a game waiting to disappear. So Just Enough says, so the full game is $100. That's right, right? If you want the full experience, you got to pay $100. The standard game, even though they put an Ultimate Edition, is $100. Aku says 30. I'm worried about broke and buggy after GTA Remaster Collection. I'm not well, they didn't make that. Remember, Aku, that was someone else that created that. I'm not worried about broke and buggy. Now, I'll stand corrected, but obviously there's been bugs in past Rockstar games, but usually, especially with the 18 months that they had delayed, which was official from Strauss Zelnick, okay, because they're 18-month delay, hence why he looked at the camera and was like, no, it's coming out in November, right? That I don't think we'll have a problem with polish, but, we'll see. Jay Breezy says GTA 6 will be the highest selling game of all time. Money-wise. I don't think it beats, because Minecraft's up in like 310, 315, 320 million copies sold. Grand Theft Auto 5 is 280, 260, 280, something like that, but it is the biggest piece of entertainment. So I do think in time that Grand Theft Auto 6 would beat that. It's definitely going to get pre-orders day one, week one, month one, year one. August says, I'm late. Did they drop the price now? They already dropped the price. The pre-orders go live tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be a trailer this morning, unless they drop the trailer tomorrow for the pre-order. But the trailer drop. I mean, it stops at midnight tonight. Starts at midnight tonight. People can start pre-ordering. A clip says, if the rumors are true and they've heard the cars will be like your horses in Red Dead, you pretty much have to have insurance and shit like that. Oh, for God's sakes. They're not doing that, are they? Oh, no. Jay Breezy says, look, like my kids aren't getting an Xmas present this year. Sarge says it's called a paywall. It's always called a paywall. Jay Breezy says, Ultimate, here I come. Krebsy says, typical IGN. But what is IGN saying? That's wrong there. Real Fake Wizard says, big day for corporate gaming. It is big day, right? They're all cheering. I put the weddings wedding crashers in my Discord, popping champagne and like jumping up and down. I was like, that's executives right now in the gaming industry. Argus says, I guess that at least we didn't hit us with the $90 or $100 base price. Still not my preference. I mean, they did. It was $80 for standard, $100 for extra stuff, which is basically a single-player game, meaning you have to pay $100 if you want the 100% single-player experience. Sarge says, remember, even if these settle for $79.99 for standard edition, it will be destroyed the price point for every other game. Just Enough says, this is on disc DLC. No, there's no disc. Zero disc. No disc. Jesse Mack says they're locking you out from the stores like the live service, and you don't buy the higher price of edition. It sounds, well, we don't know. The IGN article says, how is it going to work, right? Are you going to walk up to the door, you can't get in? Are you going to walk in, and it's going to be like, hey, if you want to access this store, you pay extra $20, and it brings you to the actual, the GTA shop type of thing? Altard says, I waited 15 years. I could wait more. I don't care about this game anymore. Wizard says this is the final boss for the AAA industry. That's it. They hit to $80. They hit to $80, and now everyone else is like, see, GTA said it. We can do it too. Sorry, chat. Let's see what you got going on here. Sarge says, over-the-top greed will be online. Oh, my God. I can't wait to see what happens with the online. Jay Breezy says, if people still spend in NBA 2K, they buy GTA 6. Oh, 100%. There are going to be people that buy GTA 6. Jesse Mack says they want to purchase the $100 Ultimate Edition to get everything. Big bullshit. Krebsy says, Grove Street Games made the remaster. Yeah, I'm not worried about the quality of Rockstar until they prove me otherwise, right? Ray says Minecraft costs like $8 on the Amazon store on Android. Yeah, New Zealand can already pre-order. I already posted it in Discord. It's like $139 for them. It's expensive. It's $139 for the standard edition. Ask for pre-orders with no gameplay is insanity. You don't have to get the pre-order. The game comes out in November. You can pre-order up until November 18th. You do not have to pre-order today. There will be gameplay from today before it launches. You don't have to worry about that. Sarge says the base price is $100 if you want the complete game. Argus says, I'm not excited about the pre-order being available. Here's no scarcity for the game. Even if you get it every minute, I want it any given time, get excited to pay for something you don't get yet. I never understood the pre-order digital stuff. I never understood it. Krebsy says, I personally expected this after the GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 did it. GTA 5 was more relaxed with the, think 3 outfits, 2 cars, and other stuff. Red Dead Redemption 2 had missions, hideouts, guns, boosters, etc. Yeah, bullshit back then, too. Wizard says, don't pre-order. That's right. Don't pre-order. We have a song about it. We got a song. No pre-orders. No day one. No full price for a half-ass game. You got to prove it to me first. You got to prove it to me first. Sarge says, I don't buy day one. Don't pre-order digital games, and I'm not mentally challenged. You know what? I'll tell you what. How many subscribers do I have on this channel? What am I at? What am I at? I'm at 2,750. Here's my promise to you. Now, this channel's been live for 3 years. 3 years. Okay? We got 2,750 subscribers. Now, I'm not really big on subscribers, right? And I don't know if I'll ever hit this number, but I'm going to say something right now. I will not play Grand Theft Auto, okay? I have to hit this first before I can even decide if I'm going to purchase it or not, not meaning I'm going to purchase it, okay? If and when I hit 5,000 subscribers, then and only then will I go, you know what? I'm going to go look at Grand Theft Auto 6, okay? Now, we might never, ever hit 5,000 subscribers, and I might not ever play Grand Theft Auto 6, and I'm okay with that because I haven't played Cyberpunk 2077, and everyone says it's the greatest game ever created, and it was broke, buggy, and unfinished, and I just never wanted to play it because of that. So, yeah, Altern says, so you're never going to play it. That's right. That is my thing to you guys. I'm not going to pre-order. I'm not going to buy day one. I'm not even going to buy week one. And even if I do hit that 5,000 Altern, okay, even if I hit that 5,000, at that point will be the justification. Okay, I hit 5,000. I'll think about it. You will not see, the only content from Grand Theft Auto 6 that you'll see here is other people's videos and us talking about news. We will not be playing. Well, I don't play on this channel anyway, but you will not see me playing Grand Theft Auto until I hit 5,000. Maybe. Ron says we're paying for tattoos on your character now. That's right, in a single-player game. In a single-player game. Travis says, Sarge, you're correctly saying people who buy GTA 6 are mentally challenged. No, what he said was, he's not mentally challenged. Yeah, I honestly don't care. Just Enough says, I'll start a bot farm for you, Mike. You can start it. It doesn't mean I'm going to play it. That's all I'm saying. Jason says, it'd be funny if you pre-order GTA 6 and then you wait until November it comes out and you have to hit with DRM to check you if you purchased it. Yeah, wait a minute. That could happen. JD Kent says, I'm so old it takes 15 or more years for GTA 7. I'll probably be dead, so I'm going to play GTA 6. Yeah, I don't care. At this very moment, right? At this very moment, I lost complete interest because now games are going to be $80. The industry has just gone to $80. Mo says it'll be on Game Pass by then, so you won't need to buy it. It's very true. Very true, Mo. By the time I hit that, right? Goo99Z says, everyone in this chat is going to buy the game. Well, Goo, you definitely don't know this chat then. Just saying. Really easy to type it, though, isn't it? Blocky says, I always thought the actual gameplay of GTA was clunky. If GTA 6 makes the shooting and running feel better, I might give it a try. Well, every Rockstar game is like that. I don't think they're going to make a massive change because of that. Aku says 30. 5,000 subs or Game Pass. No, even if it's on Game Pass, I won't touch it. I won't play it. I just said it. I have to hit 5,000. If I don't hit 5,000, I'm not even looking at it. Bradley Graves says, no disc, no buying it. Yeah, it's all digital. And everyone's going to go buy a digital. This is what I don't understand, right? Here, I said this in my Discord this morning, right, to Water. The people that are upset about cloud gaming and not owning stuff, yet they're going to pre-order a digital copy or they're going to buy the physical copy, which is a digital code. Everyone's just going to be okay when the day comes that everything goes to the cloud, because that's what's going to happen. And everyone's just be like, well, I don't want to play on the cloud. Be like, well, then you shouldn't have bought all these digital games. Just saying. Krebsy says, sometime in 2025, it was rumored that GTA 6 would be all digital at launch because Rockstar didn't want the GameStop employees to spoil everything. Boo-hoo. Well, then most people that are, if they're true, Krebsy, they won't pre-order this game, right? Because if they want a physical copy, they'll just wait for the physical copy to come out, right? So if it's a year, 6 months, 2 years, whatever it is, those people that want a physical copy, and even when the physical copy comes out and they put a disc on the goddamn thing, you're probably still going to have to, the game won't be on the disc, I guarantee it. You might not have a code, but it'll just be a key to basically when you put it in the machine and you need to be online to download it. There's not going to be an actual physical game on the disc. So if you unplug it from the online, then you'll be able to play it. Altern says Crimson Desert offers better value at $70 than GTA 6 at $80. We don't know that for sure because you haven't played Grand Theft Auto 6, but I get what you're saying. Mr. Z says the driving the combat to GTA 1 and 2 was so rough, I gave up. No GTA for me. Mr. Z, are you sure? Goo99Z came in and said everybody in this chat is going to get it. Mo says, I can guarantee you I will not buy this game. My gamer tag's Big Mad Mo. Check out whenever you want. If you ain't got Game Pass, it will not be on my console. Yeah, Mo's not buying it. Mo's not getting it. Travis says, just saying, it's crazy that everyone cleared November when others couldn't even gone, hey, they aren't $79.99. Buy us instead. There is one game, Travis. There is one game going head-to-head with Grand Theft Auto, and that is the Godzilla game, The Monsters. That's the remaster, right? Going head-to-head, Godzilla versus Grand Theft Auto. Kirby says, what if the reason is the digital only is because it's a server-side rendering? What if the game is too big to fit on the disc? Well, if you're a person that wants a physical disc and Grand Theft Auto is not on a physical disc because what you're saying is it's too big and it can't render and stuff, well then, I guess those people don't buy the game.
My lord, we all know that Water Bear Cinemas is going to pre-order this game twice, PS5 and PC.
Well, he said if it's not 60, he's not getting it on the console. He'll wait for PC. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Wizard says, I didn't even play GTA 5. I mean, you're still a gamer, right, Wizard? See, you see what happens? You don't have to actually play Grand Theft Auto 5. You can still enjoy games. See that? It's proof. It's proof. Ray says, in GTA 5, you stop touching the thumbsticks and your avatar continues to walk 2 miles. Mr. G says, 30, you are a true rebel. 30 and still gaming, you can play GTA 1 and GTA 1, the OG. Look, I liked all GTA games. I liked the top-down. I played every single one, except for the mobile ones on the PSP and stuff like that, right? I played all the main titles. Okay, absolutely love it. I don't need this game. I don't need this game. I don't need to spend $80 on a game that, again, as a content creator, that no one's going to watch me play if I was playing it anyway, because they will be playing the game and they don't want to get spoiled because it's a single player game. Now, down the road, if I played online because of the role playing and stuff like that, sure. Right? But for the single player game, no one's going to care. No one watches my content because I play video games. So from a content perspective, it's not worth me buying it. I don't review games, right? I don't review games, so I don't need to buy it. And it's $80. And you don't even get the full game. You got to pay $100 to get the full all the content in the game. Arcus says, I already have Mo on my Xbox, and based on the games he plays, I'm positive he ain't lying. Yeah, no, Mo's not going to play it. In the 90s, we had multi-disc games. That's correct. Hell, even Red Dead Redemption 2, if I'm not mistaken, 2 discs. Waterbear says, only on PC if it's not 60 frames on console. Clip says, and if it's not released, the release date or Ocarina of Time, are they brave enough? I don't know. Are they brave enough? Water says, there's way too many great games to enjoy for me to handicap myself in not a 60 frames per second at launch 30. Altern says, you never played GTA 5, but Epic gave it away for free at that one time. It's been on Game Pass multiple times. You know what I mean? It's been on Game Pass multiple times. Heart Dust says, did you guys hear about the new retro emulator app on the Quest? Has PlayStation 2, N64, Game Boy, and more. No, I didn't hear it until just now. Thanks for the info. I'll check it up after stream. Goose says they should have made it $90, to be honest. Well, they did. They made it $100 for all the content. The problem is now that Grand Theft Auto, I mean, reports way ahead of time, last year sometime, they were talking about Grand Theft Auto needs to be $80. $80 video games. They needed this to become $80 so the rest of the industry could bring their games up to $80, right? There was even points just a couple of months ago. Was it September when Silk Song came out, or was that after? I forget when it came out. Was it this year? Last year? I forget whenever Silk Song came out, even the indie market was complaining that they charged $20, and because there was so much value in that $20, other people were talking about, well, we can't charge $20 for our game now because it's not comparable to what your game is at $20, right? Which is bullshit, because if you make a game, sell a game, whatever you put your time in, what you think your game is worth, then put it in, right? That if you think that's what it's going to sell, they're like, well, no, there's value here, right? The perspective of value is different for every person. Will you have enough people buy your $20 game if it didn't have enough content like Silk Song? Well, now you have Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto puts it out for $80, obviously $100, and you know it's going to have way more content. But the other companies now are going to be like, well, wait a minute. Can we charge $80 for our game? AAA games don't care if they have the comparison for, does Madden have the exact same amount of content as Grand Theft Auto? No, it doesn't. But EA is like, well, you see what they did? Let's do $80 video games. That's what they're going to do. Sarge says, my God, how did they afford to sell us a game that had 3 discs in a box? How did they stay open? What was the game? Remember back in the day, Sarge? I mean, obviously it's different times. Was it Police Quest? King's Quest? We had like 11 floppies. Open a door, insert disc 3. You go back out the door, insert disc 1. Argus says, if it's locked at 30 frames on console, I'm definitely never going to get one. I think if they said on the PlayStation 5 Pro and the Xbox, I think they said it's going to be 60 frames. But these are rumors right now, right? Let's see. Mr. Z says, I'm not going to do it. Even on Game Pass, I only got through 15 minutes of Grand Theft Auto 5 and, and a bunch of curse words. 70 is too expensive for the average person. Yeah, I mean, there's been stats that people are not buying $70 video games. So we'll see what happens with the $80 video game. $50 is the sweet spot, impulse buy spot. Yeah, for video games, like the $40, $50 spot, people won't even ask questions. They'll be like, yeah, I'll pick that up. El Deli says, shit, does Madden have the same amount of content? The last Madden answer? It doesn't. Right, but they're still going to charge. They're still going to charge $80 for the roster lineup. Heart Dust says, I wonder if it's going to release after Thanksgiving so they avoid the Black Friday. No, it's releasing November 19th. Jesse Max says the gaming industry does not need GTA 6 set price at $80 to standard for the whole AAA gaming at the market. Well, they will. That's what they were waiting for. I mean, they said it. They said the quiet part out loud a year ago. Ray says, 30, show us the Xbox Game Pass ad from the Game Awards. When the disc tray, when the disc tray is infinite. I don't remember that one. Aku says PlayStation 5 Pro will have 60 frames because it's using fake frames. You'll also get like 220p upscale for 4K using PSSR. Just wait for PC. I mean, but if the people that own a PlayStation 5, Aku, I mean, they would be happy with that, right? Sarge says, let them charge whatever they want. The market will pay what they gets fair. Yeah, and this will, again, because it's $80, because it's $100, are people not going to buy this? No, of course, right? Again, this is gonna. I stand by what I said over a year ago. This will get the most pre-orders day one tomorrow. Okay, it'll have the most pre-orders ever, which is held by Cyberpunk right now at 8 million. Okay, this will blow past that for pre-orders. It'll have the most day one. It'll have the most week one. It'll have the most month one. It'll have the most year one game sales ever. I've said it. I stick by it. I'm not buying it, but it's definitely going to be the highest one of all those things. Arca says other games have already tried $80 base game prices. It won't become the new industry norm yet. Market still won't bear it. Almost no game still get bought at $80. Travis says, I never hope for a game to flop. Oh, wait. Scratch that. Almost never. Yeah, Elden Ring, right? You wanted that to flop. Ray says, the ad shows someone to open the disc tray to insert like 30 games. They were mocking physical players and telling them to go to the cloud. Oh, yeah. Well, that's definitely going to happen. What's going on, Kylo? Kylo says, very disappointed that no physical copy collector's edition. Hoping they'll release one down the line. I think they will. I think Krebsy is correct because of what happened with Red Dead Redemption, right? They didn't want people leaking the stuff or gameplay. They want to be control of everything. But it is sad that they're not putting a physical. And again, even if they do a physical, we don't even know if you get the disc, if the game's on the disc. Let's see here. What else we got going on? Grand Theft Auto. That's already locking the stuff behind. We already talked about that. That's their website. I'm checking Twitter real fast because a lot of people are talking about it and whatnot. So let's see what we can, if anyone else is saying. I mean, obviously it's gonna sell. That's not even a conversation. All of a sudden, people are not going to be like, "Yep." The masses will buy it. Back in February, the internet caught the rumor that GTA 6 will be digital only to fight leakers. Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick came out and said that's not true. Technically, he used weasel words. He never said that they would be a disc, and he claimed a strong physical presence. What he meant was empty boxes. Will anyone care? No, it'll still sell. But why did they have to lie? It's very true. So they are having physical boxes, but it's a digital code. Clip says you want to be able to pre-download it 5 days early. You don't think people will data mine that? Oh, for sure. Oh, we're going to get data mined stuff before that happens, Eclipse. Sarge, you can leak digital the same exact way as physical games? There's no difference. Well, if there's an online presence and you have to connect to online and someone activates a code somewhere, I think Rockstar would know if it's all coming from the home base. You know what I'm saying? Shadow says anyone with a brain knows it'll sell. Yeah. Yeah, there's no defending it that it won't sell. Crowd says, is the price out yet? Yeah, it's $80 for the standard, $79.99 for the standard, and then $99.99, which is $100 for the Ultimate Edition. And the Ultimate Edition has a crap ton of stuff behind that paywall. Ray says it'll have 100% have online DRM. Yeah, $80 base, $100 Ultimate Edition. Right. Well, I always love in Grand Theft Auto 5 when you run around, there's a mission that says, it's in the cloud. We're in the cloud now. There's always that mission that always made me laugh. And here we are, right? 15 years later, we are in the cloud. Here's what I hope that Grand Theft Auto 6 has. Okay, I hope it still has the humor that it had in all the past games, where they just rip into everybody, anybody and everybody. They don't hold back. Kraken says, I'll wait for it to be $5 on PC. Shadow says, I'm not buying it because I only care about the single player. Yeah, I can wait for the single player. And actually, as I said, I won't even look into it unless we hit like 5,000 subscribers. So, and again, that's not to put out there like, oh, go subscribe. Like, our channel's 3 years old and we have 2,700 subscribers. I don't think we're gonna ever gonna hit that number. And if we did, at that point, I'd be like, okay, I'll think about it. Kyle says they're bringing very vague about the online. Why do I have a feeling that they're going to charge you for the whole other game for GTA 6 Online to force you to sub service to play? They didn't talk about the online for Grand Theft Auto 5 when it came out as well. It was part of the game. You didn't have to pay extra for it, but they didn't talk about it because they're just focusing on the game. They did the same thing with Red Dead Redemption 2 when it came out. August says, to be fair, they're giving you way more for the $20 than most games bother doing. Some of the straight rip you off, but still egregious either way. Yeah, it just comes off a little bad, because if you want a single player game, if you want all the content, the different shops where you can customize your stuff, yeah, you have to pay the extra $20. If you keep it just cosmetic, which it kind of is, but at the same time it's not, because it's on physical things that you get in the game, but you can't get the things unless you go to these certain areas, but you can't get into certain areas because you didn't pay the extra $20. Let's see here. Goose says, you're not even gonna, in your dreams, going to get that numbers. You talk about my subscribers? Is that what you're talking about? Sarge says, what's possible, Kylo? You're not wrong. War says, at 60 frames per second, I'm buying the Ultimate. I'm glad because a single player more, but it's also different times now. And I'm just scared that it'll take that path. Potentially, yeah. I mean, you're 100% being cautious about it, but they did the same thing the last two. Krebsy says, look up when $70 hit the fall of 2020. And just 6 years, 70 is 90 today. It's crazy inflation. We're waiting for the response of microtransactions, subscriptions, Ultimate Edition. Yes, those exist. Let's see. They're not giving. They're removing a lot of shit unless you pay $20. Well, they're not removing it. They're just putting it. It's in the game. You just can't get behind that wall. Maybe you can, like the article says. Maybe you can get into that room. But when you talk to the person behind the counter, like, if you want to buy it, you got to pay $20, become a member. You know what I mean? Perhaps. Kyle says, right, but the last GTA was 12 years ago. 13, I think, right? And the last game was 2018. Just very different times now. You're absolutely correct. Look, I'm a type of person that I don't believe it until I see it type of thing, right? Like 100% speculation type of stuff, right? So I understand what you're saying, that it could 100% happen. I'm just saying from the past things, and we have that to go by, from the last two games, that's how they did it back then for those two games. I would assume that they're going to do the exact same until proven otherwise. Mo says, I don't give a damn about inflation. I'm loyal to my wallet. You can fuck off. Hart says, GTA slops. GTA slops. War says, Travis, if you say no, I'm going to argue with you. I'm buying with my money. Yeah, you can buy whatever you want. I will never tell anybody to not buy a game. All I ask is people, if you're not sure about a game, don't pre-order. Because if you pre-order and buy it ahead of time, then it comes out broke, buggy, and unfinished, then you cause that. Because if they get all your money up front, Cyberpunk is the perfect example, right? They made all their money back on pre-orders. They didn't have the incentive that they had to fix the game. Obviously, we just read an article yesterday. They still feel they haven't recovered from that, right? Because the persona of what happened then, everyone's like, no, I don't trust them, and that's what happens. So, if you want to buy a game, buy a game. But if you're not sure, then don't buy it. Don't pre-order. Just wait. Even if you want to pre-order, there's a lot of content that comes out that people see like a week ahead of time. They'll start playing gameplay. They'll show gameplay. They'll do all this stuff. If you pre-order now, then you can cancel if you don't like what the gameplay looks like, or you could wait to see the gameplay before the game actually launches, and then you can make the purchase. Like, all we're asking here is that you make a decision based on more information than just pure hype. Now, Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar, I should say, is they've never not shown up with the proper game, right? Rockstar themselves, I know they did the remaster and stuff like that, but that's not Rockstar. Rockstar is well, the Rockstar. They have a different pedigree when it comes to games. Now, could you argue that the people that are working at Rockstar today are the same people that worked in the last Red Dead Redemption 2? There could be some. There could be a lot of different. Could be completely different. But again, until I'm proven wrong otherwise, I have to look at Rockstar and say they haven't disappointed me in the past. So why would I be disappointed before shown anything? Krabby says, I bet my money that sometime in 2027, Rockstar will separate single player and online. You can buy it either for $40 or $50. I agree 100%. They did that with Grand Theft Auto 5. I pre-ordered a day before games launch, and I see reviews actually trust people. Right? That's what I'm saying, Krebsy. If you want to pre-order, what I'm saying is don't pre-order 6 months in advance. You could pre-order the day before. If you've done your research and go, okay, that's a game I want to get. Kyle says, I've been seeing the pre-order comes in with instant 1 month free of GTA Plus since it instantly activates. You can also cancel the pre-order because you got part of the pre-order already. Hope I'm wrong. Goo, did you wake up angry this morning? Did you wake up angry this morning? You're like, let me type away. Kyle says you have to actually go in and turn off the auto renew so you don't keep getting charged. That's what I'm saying. It should be good, but I'm still waiting the only single player so I can wait. Yeah, well, a lot of people just play for the single player. They don't ever touch the online, right? Mike, think it's going to be 30 frames on the base consoles? I think obviously on the Xbox Series S, it's going to struggle. I think it'll be 30. But the Xbox Series X, I think it'll hit 60 on performance. Same with the PlayStation 5 Pro. Jesse Max says 30. Just remember, they were delayed GTA 6 couple of missions, not even ready for release, and the game is already betting on GTA 6 will be also released buggy and broken and unpolished 30 frames with 4K. Mo says Rockstar used to be a great developer and actually develop games. But since the last time they made one, they still are. They haven't made one since Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably one of the better games ever created. No, it starts at midnight, local time. So like right now, it's pre-ordering time in New Zealand because it's midnight there. Or past midnight now. Yeah, it's just, once it hits midnight around the world, wherever you are, you can start pre-ordering. Yeah, it's local time. So they're already making money on GTA 6 now. Correct. Yeah. This just in, they've already beat the pre-order record. I'm just kidding. I don't know if that's just New Zealand right now. Once it hits midnight, you can start pre-ordering. This is why I think we see a trailer today sometime, right? Crazy says, I'm reading the chat and thinking to myself, and these people say I'm the jaded one. All right. We're gonna watch Jason Schreier's video on why everyone wants live service games. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. We just watch videos, read articles, give you my thoughts and opinions, get your thoughts and opinions. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. All right, let's hear what Jason has to say about live service games, shall we?
Hello. Live service has become one of the dirtiest phrases in the video game industry.
Has it? I still think loot boxes is dirtier, right? I'm sorry, surprise mechanics. I think surprise mechanics are still worse than live service.
If you say it in front of a gamer, chances are they will roll their eyes, they will scoff at you, they will spit in your face, they will slap you.
You can almost hear the dissent of him about gamers, right? Listen to what he just said there.
They will roll their eyes, they will scoff at you, they will spit in your face, they will slap you, they will do, well, maybe not go that far. But look, people hate the idea of live service games, and there's a good reason for that. Over the last decade, we have seen video game companies force their studios into creating live service games, or at the very least pressure them into doing so. And as a result, we've seen some of people's favorite game studios get...
Did Schreier like Suicide Squad? Did he like Suicide Squad? There was one of the journalists liked Suicide Squad, besides Morgan Park.
Kind of eviscerated, or at the very least their reputations have been shattered.
Jason's owning the chuds,
games
Jason.
Like Anthem and Suicide Squad and many more come out to negative reception and mediocre commercial success as a result of the companies behind them saying, hey, you, single player studio that is really good at making games in a specific genre, why don't you now try making a multiplayer live service game? But what exactly is a live service game, and why have they become such a popular trend?
Because they make a shit ton of money. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Why do companies want them so badly? Why has Sony once said, why did Sony say a few years ago they were going to make at least 12 live service games, much to fans' chagrin? I think it's really important to understand this, because rather than just getting angry online about this trend, which don't get me wrong, it's okay to do, I think it's important to...
Real quick, Titan comes in and says 1 month of GTA Plus subscription with pre-order, auto renews, check game, and legal info below.
To get why it's happening. So let's go back in time a little bit. There was once an era, let's call it, 2000 to 2010, when big game companies could find a lot of success by releasing a string of new games every year, multiple new games every...
Between 2000, I would say one of the best years in gaming, well, within I would say a 12-month period, was 2011 to 2012. 2011, 2012, so many good games came out during that era, right? That's the tail end of the 360 and the PlayStation 3 era, okay? So many good games came out. And we're talking about 11 years into the cycle, right?
Per year, so-called...
Or no, I'm sorry. It was like 7 years into the cycle at that point.
AAA games that were considered high-end graphical fidelity for the time, that maybe cost between, let's call it $10 to $30 million to produce, and that were pretty reliably going to sell at least 1 million copies and make their companies a significant amount of money. Something changed over the course of the 2010s and into the 2020s, which is that these games started to cost a lot more. We've seen games go from...
maybe just don't put your studio in the most expensive cities in the country or the world, and then maybe you could, not have exploded budgets of 300, 400 million.
$20 to $30 million to make to $200 to $300 million to make. And that's kind of the floor for AAA games these days. You can see some of my previous videos for why games have taken so long to make and also why they cost.
I would think that happened in the late teens, right? Because again, some of the best games that only took 2-3 years to make came out in 2011, 2012. But then Destiny was supposed to come out in 2013, got delayed, came out in 2014, right? It was like September 9th, I think it was, in 2014. And ever since then, everyone saw what that was making. And then they started making their games around the 2013, 2014, 2015 era. And then they started releasing games in the 18 and 19. And then Battle Royale hit in 2017 with PUBG and Fortnite. So everyone started shifting. And it didn't take them 7 years to make a Battle Royale. There was people putting Battle Royales out within 3 months trying to compete just so they could make something. And they're like, oh, well, let's start making live service games.
Cost so much to make, but that is what happened. As a result of that, it was no longer possible to just spend your way to success. Games these days that spend upwards of $300+ million are requiring such a sales threshold to actually see a return on that investment that is no longer possible to just brute force your way into a hit. As a result, companies have looked around and said, hey, this is a volatile hit-driven industry. It's always been a volatile hit-driven industry, but in the past, we could at least find some success by just consistent.
Well, what he's not also saying here is that there's way more people making video games now, way more studios, way more publishers, right? So you're also fighting for people's time. There might be more people in the industry that are buying games, but you're also competing against people's time. And because people's time, and all of a sudden there was 500 games being made a year or 1,000 games being made a year, well, now there's, let's say 5,000 games back in 2020 or 2018. But you're also now competing with the people doing live service or constantly playing Fortnite or Minecraft or Roadblocks or whatever else. So those people are not going back into the pool to buy a new game. They're just playing that game. So there's more people playing, but there's people stuck in that one game because it keeps them coming back. And they're like, oh, I want to make a live service game. And they make a live service game, but they can't grab on to that player base because that player base is still stuck in the one they have. So they try to make a game just like that. They're like, well, maybe it's because of a battle royale. Maybe it's because now it's the extraction. Maybe because now, whatever it is, the pool's bigger, but they're trying to grab people from this pool and move over to this pool. And they're like, nah, I'm good where I'm at.
Constantly releasing games in these hit franchises and then making sequels out of them and continuing to try new things, and we would generally get results. Now the stakes are too high, the costs are too big, the lengths of these development cycles are too long, so we can't do that anymore.
How much did Helldivers cost? Helldivers 2. How much did they cost? Right? Very successful. It's been around for 2 years. I mean, obviously they're sabotaging their own game. But that didn't cost $400 million, $300 million.
Well, what can we do? How can we make sure that we stay solvent and stay afloat and continuing making money, whether we're privately owned and we're just making money for our investors and our owners, or we are publicly owned and we are continually making a profit and seeing growth for our shareholders. That is kind of our reason for existence, is to do that. So, and again, we're not talking about indies here. That's a different world that I'll get into in a future video. We're talking about the big budget, the companies that are trying to make the big bucks out of video games, the Ubisofts and EAs and Activisions of the world. At the same time, we are seeing an explosion in so-called live service games. Now, live service games have been around for a very long time.
Also $40. You are correct, Krebsy. $40 for when it came out.
The idea of a live service game is essentially a game. Man, I should have started with this, but hey, I don't edit here. I just record raw, so I'm going to give a definition of live service right now. A live service game is a video game that is designed for recurring monetization. It is as simple as that.
I hate the way he's speaking to us, and I get it because he's trying to educate us. but he's speaking to us like we're children.
I've seen a lot of people get this wrong, use this as kind of use this in the wrong way, use that term to describe games that are absolutely not live service games. Most notably, there were headlines a couple of months ago when that game from the Imagine Dragons people came out, Last Flag. There were headlines that called it a live service game. That was not a live service game. That was a game you bought once and you played multiplayer, but there was no recurring monetization in that game. A live service game is a game that has recurring monetization, period.
Bradley says, how many hours can we expect for a story in GTA 6? I mean, I want to say Red Dead Redemption was like 20, 25. I think Grand Theft Auto 5 was like 18 to 20, wasn't it? Like just the story? I think it would probably be around a 20-hour campaign, I think. Maybe more. I have no idea. You could look up... Go look up Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5 and see what their story plots were. They're about around the same.
It can be a single player game. Usually it is a multiplayer game. Some developers have released single player games that just will continue to get expansions and new content that is sold piecemeal. That is a live service game. But most of the time it is an online game that...
Playtime ranges from 35 to 75. Yeah, but 75 means like you're completing all the side quests. If you're just doing the story, just the main story, not the side quest type of stuff.
Has some sort of monetization that is designed for recurring spend. In other words, they want players to start playing the game and keep spending money over time. One of the most popular live service games way back in the day was EverQuest, one of the first big, or certainly the biggest MMO for its era, which came out in 1999 and required people to not only buy a box product, but also pay monthly for a subscription, which of course led to a lot of recurring revenue. Then came World of Warcraft, which really exploded that formula. It took EverQuest subscribers and multiplied them by 10 and then by 20. Even bigger version of a live service game that really just kind of dominated Blizzard and turned it into such a powerhouse over the years. Then we saw other examples of that. League of Legends was another prominent live service game. Counter-Strike, many more. Dota 2. But really, it was Fortnite that really sent the dollar signs, visions of dollar signs into the heads of executives worldwide. And that's because Fortnite was one of the most popular. Fortnite came out and became a cultural phenomenon. It reached millions and millions and millions of people.
Yeah, 2017, 2018, man, that was crazy for Fortnite.
And got them in for free. It was free to play. You could just jump in, download it without paying a cent, and then got them paying for skins, for costumes, for dances, for all sorts of stuff, and kept them playing through this kind of just never-ending model of adding new stuff to the game, changing the maps, adding new seasons full of content, adding new characters, and so on and so forth. So every company looked over that and said, hey.
I mean, I think he's missing out on a lot of stuff there, Altern, because Minecraft was a big thing as well. So many people were playing Minecraft. Minecraft was a completely different phenomenon, and it constantly keeps people coming back. I don't think people associate Minecraft as a live service game, but it is. Do you know what I mean?
Wow, these live service games can be pretty popular and can make a bunch of money. We should get some of those. And there were a couple of reasons for that. I mean, first and foremost, it's because that's an easy way to make money, and a lot of these companies are just jumping on trends as often as possible, as we saw a few years ago during the era of NFTs, which was quickly followed by the era of metaverse, when pretty much every game company, whether or not they'll admit it now, was talking about how NFTs were going to be the future on their earnings calls, and in a way to appease investors that thought that NFTs were going to be the future, which is just, I mean, I think even at the time most people realized how silly that was. But anyway, the point is that the games industry is very...
NFTs are just too early. NFTs are just too early. If Tim Sweeney talks about how anything they make in Unreal Engine 6 can move from one game to the other as far as cosmetics and stuff go, that's an NFT. A digital good that you can move from one thing to the next and actually have actual value, right? Because think about this. How many people would be super pissed? You spent thousands of dollars on all the cosmetics that you use in Fortnite that people bought. And now the reason they buy them is because they think Fortnite continues on, right? So there can't be like a Fortnite 2, right? They can't just make Fortnite 2 because everyone like, what happens to all this stuff? They would completely break down the economy inside of Fortnite because people wouldn't buy shit anymore. If they make Fortnite and it constantly just upgrades from 5 and they move it to 6, and they're like, yeah, we can't bring everything over, but everything that's made in 6 can now move over not just from Fortnite, but if we make another game and someone uses it and we partner with them, you could use your skin from this game into that game. That's an NFT. That's what they're trying to do.
Very much a trend-chasing industry. When League of Legends came out, everyone wanted to do MOBAs. When World of Warcraft came out, everyone wanted to do MMOs. Ultimately, you only see a couple of...
Wait a minute, Krebsy. Is that true? Take-Two stock drop 1% because investors are upset they aren't charging $100 for standard for GTA 6? Is that true?
Of winners out of these trends, but it is a trend-driven industry, and we've seen it's very much a copycat industry. We've seen that happen over and over again. So a lot of these executives are looking at live service games and saying, hey, I went in on that trend. I went in on that money. And that is kind of reason number one, of course. But there's another reason, a more existential reason, a reason that I think follows more sound logic than just, I want money, that makes money, give me one of...
That is the sound logic. You can put whatever you want after this. I don't know what he's saying after this point, okay? That's exactly what they want. The logic is money go up. That is the logic.
Those. And that reason is that a live service game can be the backbone of your company and allow you to keep making money in an industry that is volatile. And
making a game and selling a game is the backbone of your industry. Not chasing trends. Making a game and selling a game. Making a good game and selling that game is the backbone of your industry.
Can otherwise lead you to fall apart if you release a few bad bets, which is what happened to Ubisoft. Ubisoft, for people who haven't been following, really peaked in 2017 or 2018 or so with some of their games that were really big hits, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and The Division 2, and then shortly afterwards had a string of really big flops that led to the company really struggling in recent years. If you look at their stock
is he talking about Ubisoft?
Chart over the last decade or so, it kind of looks like this, like it's like a good comparison might be, if you are a basketball fan, the win probability chances of the Spurs against the Knicks for 4 games, which is like
correct, Bradley. That's why I'm saying that's why they're embedding it into Unreal Engine 6, that when they make the skins there, they're going to try to take certain skins and move them over. They have to. They have to try. Okay? But once they make the skins and stuff inside of Unreal Engine 6, they'll be able to use those in other ways.
Anyway, so some of these companies, they look at live service games and they say, hey, that is recurring revenue. That can help us keep afloat when our game...
How is Hello Games doing it? I understand they're independent, right? They're a small studio. How do they do it? They don't charge one goddamn cent for microtransactions. Not one goddamn thing do they charge. All they do is keep putting updates in their game. And if you already own the game, you just keep getting more updates, right? You just keep getting more content. And if you don't own the game and you buy the game and the game is the price of what it is, which I think is like $40 now, and it's on sale most of the time, okay? How are they staying afloat? How are they doing it? Oh, I know. They made a game, and they're supporting that game and not charging one extra penny for any of the content that they do. We've actually begged them. They're like, all right, you've made up, Sean. You could start charging for stuff now. It's been 10 years, and they're like, nope, we're going to keep making stuff.
Games are not. When our games are a lot riskier. It is you are mitigating risk when you have a game that continually makes money, because you are not reliant on waiting 4, 5, 6, 7 years for a game to actually come out and then seeing if it'll hit. Because if you are a company that is just releasing games, a new game every 5 years and spending, I don't know.
Although they did fuck up El Dente, but they made so much money at the start okay, that they don't have to charge. We went over this a couple years ago. They made so much money off of the fucked up version of the game that they don't need to charge again. And I think it was like 12 years. So they're coming close. They're coming to the end where they didn't have to charge anything, right? They made so much money that they didn't have to charge for 12 years. And now, Light No Fire is going to happen soon in a couple years. No sign of it yet, but that's the next game they're coming out with.
$200 million on that game. You are really hoping that it is going to sell between, I don't know, 8 and 15 million copies, because you not only need to make back the money that you spent on that game, you also need to sustain your company moving forward. And that is a really difficult business to be in. That is a really tough proposition that a lot of companies have struggled with. And that is why all of the successful game publishers that we see these days have some sort of live service game as their backbone. Take-Two Interactive is one of the biggest game publishers. They have two. They have NBA 2K, which is, granted, that's an annualized game franchise, so it's a little bit different than your
Annual and live service.
Average live service, but a large chunk of that revenue, of the money they make from NBA 2K, their basketball series, comes from people spending money in the game. Those are live service games where you can spend money to buy all sorts of stuff. If you're in, there are different modes within the game. A lot of them are just very heavy on the microtransactions and on getting people to spend.
I love it. He started the video off with live service, and he said that gamers really hate the name live service. But listen to when he said microtransactions. I'm going to rewind. Just listen to the way he said microtransactions.
Money to buy all sorts of stuff. If you're in, there are different modes within the game. A lot of them are just very heavy on the microtransactions and on
very heavy on the microtransactions. Okay. He said in the beginning that live service was the thing that people didn't like to hear, gamers didn't like to hear. And I said, no, it's microtransactions. And here he is later in the video, just 11 minutes later, saying the word microtransaction, and he has to lower his voice because even him saying it, okay, he knows microtransactions are a bad word to say.
Getting people to spend money to play them and to get good within them. They also have GTA Online, which is one of the biggest things on the planet. GTA 5. By the way, sometimes I like to quiz people, even people in the games industry. I'm like, how many copies do you think GTA 5 has sold? And sometimes they'll be like, 50 million.
270 million. Between 270 and 280.
100 million copies. Yeah, pretty big. It's a pretty big game, right? And I'll blow their minds a little bit when I'll be like, GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold 230 million copies.
More than that.
Down the road, when we're getting closer to GTA 6, I'll be reporting a lot on Bloomberg and talking a lot about why that game is going to be such a smash hit and why the expectations are so high for that game, to the point where everybody is moving their release dates to get out of the way of it.
Except Godzilla.
And the biggest reason is that the last game has sold, once again, 230 million copies. It is the second best-selling game of all time, second only to Minecraft, which kind of an unfair comparison because Minecraft is much less money and also is available on phones, whereas GTA is only PC and consoles. So really, if you're looking at console games, I mean, GTA 5 is the biggest of all time. And GTA Online is recurring revenue, is a live service that continually makes money by selling players shark cards and whatever else. And so that those two games, NBA 2K and GTA, have really kept Take-Two going, even as some of its games have either been hits or misses. It's released.
El Dente just woke up and he's like, I guess I'll buy GTA 5 now. I'm not paying $100 for that. Miss me with that bullshit. Did you just find out that it was $80 to $100?
Some games that have been misses. Marvel's Midnight Suns was a miss for that, which is unfortunate because that was a really good game. Civilization 7 wasn't quite the hit they wanted it to be, although I think it did okay. Borderlands 4 wasn't a big hit for them. Mafia: The Old Country did pretty well last year, but it wasn't. Again, these are just kind of these hits or misses. You can withstand some misses if you have this backbone of recurring revenue. Other companies have it too. I mean, Microsoft, Xbox, they have plenty of problems, but they also have Minecraft, which is a very helpful baseline as for recurring revenue. Sony found some success. PlayStation found some success with Helldivers 2. Epic Games obviously has Fortnite. Riot Games has League of Legends. Blizzard has World of Warcraft and Overwatch. And
yeah, but if you have one hit live service game, why do you have to keep going back to the pool to try to make 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 live service games? If Fortnite's funding a bunch of stuff at Epic, then fund other games, smaller games that don't cost hundreds of millions of dollars. If Minecraft is subsidizing because it makes so much money, then don't make $100 million games. Make $10 million, $20 million games to subsidize and throw back in. Like, invest your money wisely inside your company instead of going, you know what? We're going to make live service games across the board. We're going to have 7 games, 8 games, 12 games, all live service, and they're all going to make money all the time. Sure, I guess in a perfect world. But again, you have to have a player base. If you don't have a player base for these games, then nobody cares.
Really, Blizzard, all of their games are live service games. Since World of Warcraft, all of their games have turned into these kind of never-ending franchise, never-ending games that just live on forever with recurring monetization of some sort. And in fact, Blizzard...
EA gets away with it because EA does sports games. They're automatically live service, right? Because while they're there, you're getting roster, ultimate teams, right? So you have baseball, football. I know they don't do basketball anymore, do they? Does EA do basketball anymore? They do hockey, okay? They have all of these games that are constantly making revenue every single month. Not people buying the game. People bought the game, and then they just keep paying for ultimate cards and stuff like that. So they have all that money, so they can go make another third-party game or a third game like, Jedi Survivor and stuff like that, because they're just constantly making money.
Over the years has put an early end to at least a couple of games because there was no way to have recurring monetization for them. For example, Diablo 3, which that's a whole nother story. I wrote about that in Play Nice, my Blizzard book, but essentially...
Did you write a book, Jason? I didn't know. Did you write a book? If only I could see it twice on your shelf.
It was going to have a second expansion that was canceled before it even got off the ground, before Reaper of Souls, the first expansion, even came out. And one of the reasons for that is because Diablo 3 didn't have a viable form of recurring monetization. They tried with the Real Money Auction House, but that was a big failure that players hated. And so as a result, they did not have a real form of recurring monetization, which made that second expansion seem less viable to the people who ran Blizzard at the time. So live service, it can really be this kind of...
Are we not going to bring up Overwatch, which had loot boxes and live service and constantly making money? We're not going to bring that up, Jason?
This infrastructure that
for
keeps
Blizzard?
You afloat and makes you less susceptible to failure if you do release one of these big risky games and it is not a huge hit. And so that's why we're seeing so many of these companies just pursue that model. Again, a lot of it is just kind of simple.
I feel like you guys you ever cheat when you were in high school for a test or something? Right? That's what I feel like video game companies are doing right now. I feel like they're looking to invest more in the cheating aspect than actually just doing the work. Right? Like, you sit there, instead of just studying your book back in the day, as you can tell, I had some experience with this, right? Instead of just sitting there and reading your book and learning the actual stuff so you could pass your test, you would cheat. Think of ways of cheating and making a cheat sheet or something, right? And you would try to figure it out instead of just doing the work. That's what gaming's doing right now. They're just trying to make live service so they could cheat how to make money faster instead of just doing the work. If you just make a game and sell a game, not be over budgeted, not hire 1,000 people to make this certain game, just make smaller-esque type of games. They don't all need to be open world. They all don't need to be 100 hours. They all don't need to have microtransactions. They all don't need to be lived on forever. Just make a game, sell a game, and you'll be successful. But they don't want to be successful because successful is only here for them, right? They need to be up here to be successful.
Let's call it, I don't know, greed is not the right word because it isn't about kind of, when we use greedy to refer to companies, we're kind of taking human motivations and applying them to machines that really do not operate like humans. When you are running EA, you are not acting out of greed. You are acting out of being part of a system where your duty is to be to maximize shareholder value, and so therefore you are doing what you think will make as much money as possible for shareholders, not because of your personal greed, although you might have some of that, but that's not what motivates you. What motivates you is doing your job and trying to do that successfully. So greed is really the wrong word.
I got to rewind that whole section there for a second, because
you are running EA, you are not acting out of greed. You are acting out of being part of a system where your duty.
the system is greed. The system is greed. You're not part of a thing being you're greedy, but you're part of a system that's greed. Your job then, if I'm a person that's working at Blizzard, let's just say I'm working at Blizzard, and I can make you $100 million, okay, just doing my job, but someone else is greedy and they say I can make you 200 million. Who do you think they're going to go with? Do you think they're going to go with the person at the 100 million, or do you think they're going to go with the person with 200 million that wants to be greedy? Greed is the system.
Is to be to maximize shareholder value, and so therefore you are doing what you think will make as much money as possible for shareholders, not because of your personal greed, although you might have some of that, but that's not what motivates you. What motivates you is doing your job and trying to do that successfully. So greed.
To do your job successfully with investors, the investors want more money. It doesn't matter your personal view, right? Your personal view is this is my job. I'm stressed. I got pressure because I have to bring in more money, because the investors want more money. Why do they want more money? Because these people over here are making a shit ton of money, and I want to make that money too. What are we talking about?
Is really the wrong word. But it's these companies are just trying to maximize their profits, and they're trying to minimize their risk, and live service games are
Isn't that what we're doing as customers? We're trying to minimize the risk, hence why we don't want to pay the high prices, right? Because we know where our budgets are, and we don't want to over-succeed our budget. So obviously we want cheaper stuff. They want more expensive stuff. That's called greed.
Way to do that. Now, you might argue that these days, trying to get a live service off the ground is actually more risky than trying to release a single-player product. And I think that companies are...
No, they're all at risk. You're trying to get a consumer base to like the thing you're making. If you're developing a game from the ground up to not be microtransactions or live service, you might have a better shot at it because you're honing in on who your audience is, who you're selling to, how are you going to make money, instead of putting a broad thing out there, a net, trying to catch as many things as possible, okay? But you didn't know your net had a hole in it, and then you start pulling it back in, and there's no fish inside because they're all like, yeah, this is too expensive. I don't like your game. The game is literally developed around microtransactions, and they don't want that.
Looking around and trying to find other ways to mitigate risk, and maybe withdrawing a little bit from the live service world. But still, I mean, live service is still the most lucrative area you can go into. It's still recurring revenue. It's still revenue that will just continue to be stable and be a backbone for your company and can help make up for some.
No. Stability is Larian Studios making Baldur's Gate 3. That's the stability. They made a game, sold that game, making shit tons of money off that game. Why? Because it's a good game. Now they can make their next game. That is the backbone.
Some of those flops. But yeah, these days, I mean, I think a lot of companies are looking around and saying, hey, how can we mitigate risk by making these games take less time and cost less money to make, which is something that I'm certainly keeping an eye on and asking a lot of game companies about and trying to figure out what that future looks like, because it's clear we're at a point of no return for the video game industry. I've talked many times in the past, years and years ago, about how things did not seem viable. This did not seem like a tenable industry. And I think we've reached a tipping point, that's for sure. But if you're wondering why companies like BioWare and Rocksteady and Naughty Dog and so many more have chased this live service dragon over the years, the reason is because having a live service game can really help make up for the volatility that has been part of the video game.
Sure, but let's say I put $100 million into a live service game, and then we don't even release that live service game. Now I'm on $100 million. Then we release another live service game that's also $100 million, and that one comes out, but it flops like Hygerd, okay? And now I'm out $200 million. I could have taken that $200 million, and I could have made, I don't know, I could have made 7 games. I could have made 7 games under and below, okay, $20 million. And I could have sold those games. And they didn't have to sell 5 million copies. They could. They could sell 5 million copies. All they had to do was sell like 250,000 copies to 1 million copies, and they would have been profitable. But no, we don't want that because we don't want small, little investments to grow bigger companies. We want the biggest chunk as possible. Number goes up, and even when that number goes up, they still fire the companies because they didn't make enough. We wanted $100 million, and they only made 98 or 99 million. Oh, sorry, they failed because they weren't there. They didn't make the goal of 100 million. Yeah, but we're still profitable by 50 million. Doesn't matter. They didn't hit the goal of 100 million, so we have to fire the company, right? You can say what he just said. If you're a person, it's not about you trying to be greedy. It's about the investors making money. Okay, great. You, the person that goes, well, I don't really want to use AI, but they want to use AI, so it's not that they don't want to use you to make the game. They just want to make AI make the game. That way they don't have to deal with you. Why? Why do they want to do that? Oh, that's right. So they can make more money. How can we sit here and say it's not about greed and greed's not the backbone of the entire thing? It is 100% corporate greed. That's why the word sits there, right? When you're with a company, an independent company, are they greedy? I guess they could be, but they're just trying to get by. They're just trying to make money for the company. Now, if they have 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits, 4 hits, 5 hits, they made a successful company, they're buying other companies up and they're doing other things. Yeah, they become greedy because now they start raising up the prices. Even though their prices, what they were before, were fine where they were. They're all making money. They're all living on yachts. They're all doing the same exact thing. Instead, it's not greed. Nope, it's not greed. It's just a necessity. It's a necessity because they have to keep paying for the things. Sure, but why are you picking 100, 200, $300 million games and they fail? What happens to that money? You could have invested so much more into other companies to make better games instead of making the fly-by-night fix 18 months, 24 months after launch.
Industry for a long time. All right, see you all next time.
Well, there you go. Jason Schreier's link in the description down below. Go give him a like. Go give him a follow. Go give him a sub. El Dente says the reason they want to make the live service game is greed. If we want to make a good one for cheap, we could just milk the money out of them and do the minimum work. That's right, but they don't want to do that. Krebsy says, I personally think calling things greed is too much of a broad stroke and would rather get into... I mean, greed is it. I had a nice conversation with my brother years ago, right? We were in the car driving, and we got in a loud match because we're both Italian, okay? And I was saying it's greed. Greed. He's like, no, it's because of this. And here we are years later, and he's like, these companies are greed. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's what I was saying back then, because they're all greedy. And they're greedy because of these reasons. Greed is the factor. You don't see independent companies being greedy because they're just like you and me. They're working a job, trying to get by, trying to make money. Corporations, all right, are a group of companies together, and they're banking it. They're banking these companies, and these companies have to make money, okay? It's not an option. They can't just fly by and go, oh, well, we'll make one next time. No, they have to make money. And the amount of greed that's up here, right? Double Fine, Ninja Theory, Compulsion, they're not greedy. The company above them is greedy, right? What's it called? Santa Monica Studios, not greedy. Sony Corporation, greedy, because they are investing the money into these companies. They have to get the money out. And if one company fails, the other companies have to lift up these companies to make the differentiate. Hence why movie studios, I tell you all the time, studios make 12, 15 movies, right? We'll just go with the 10. They make 10 films a year, okay? 7 films will fail. If 8 movies fail, okay, that's a problem, okay? Because now the 2 movies have to make up for the 8, okay? But if they have 7 and 3 movies succeed, that takes the brunt of the force off them big time, because one movie is going to be very successful. Okay. 2 movies are going to be successful, but not super successful. If they are, fantastic. And then 7 movies are going to fail and bomb, but they get their portfolios, they get all the stuff. And these companies, these movies save these 7 companies. Okay. Or 7 films in my example. Okay. That is how they do it. Hence why Xbox, Embracer, Sony, Nintendo, 2K, all of these companies that have multiple studios, and they come out every year with games. Okay, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. If they launch 4 games a year and all 3 of them bomb, the one game has to be very successful. And if it's not successful, well, then people's heads got to get chopped off, because what's the point? They can't keep it, so they have to be greedy. That's what corporations do. Greed is the backbone of all corporations. Sarge says the free money is drying up. They will not be able to make returns in the range they want. Water Bears, it's easier to release a broken, buggy, half-assed game than fix over time. I see what you're saying, but everybody's greedy. No, everyone's not greedy, Saint. Everyone's not greedy. You could sell a product, okay? You could sell a product for a profit. You could say, "Oh, I'll sell the shirt for $1." Okay. Well, the cost is 70 cents, so I have 30% left, so I'm making 30 cents on that. I could be like, "Oh, well, I don't need to make 30 cents," and if I sell millions of shirts at 30 cents, I'm very successful, right? But if I don't sell the shirts, I'm like, well, I guess I could, raise the price to $2. That way I'm making $1.30 per shirt. And that way, if I only sell 500,000 shirts, I'm making way more money than if it was selling 1 million shirts, right? And so on and so forth, right? When you have a product, when you have a thing, you can make profit. You can live off of that profit. You can be successful. Capitalism's great, okay? Capitalism is fantastic. I love capitalism. I love making money, okay? But at the same time, there's a point where you could charge 50 cents and make money and be happy, or you could charge $1 and you can make double the money. And they're like, well, I'm going to go double. Well, then you start to become greedy. Okay. You start to become greedy because now you're trying to pull. And then everyone's like, well, if they're charging more, then I got to charge more. And then they're doing that. Right. That's the whole world. The market bears, the market bears. But at the same time, greed is greed. Greed is greed. Companies are not greedy. They become successful. Then they get to a point, they hire a whole bunch of people, they hire a whole bunch of other stuff, they put a whole new extension on their building, and then they're like, well, we got to charge it 10 times more because we got to pay for the thing we have. Instead of slow burning, they spend a lot, raise the prices, and then they become greedy. No, they're all greedy. Everything's greedy at 30K, at 30,000 feet. Alternate is greedy for food. Sarge is greedy for air. I'm greedy for time. It's time to get greed is pointless. I would rather get to the point. I am giving you a point. The point is that they have to stop being greedy. At a point, I could eat all the food on the table, Krebsy, because I'm fat and I want to eat all the food. But there's a point where I go, oh, you know what? Maybe I should give some to my kid. Maybe I should give some to my kid so not only can I eat, but he can eat as well. Altern says the good thing is now that is no longer have to see Jason S.'s face on the screen. 30 is the whole world greedy. The whole world is not greedy. The whole world's not greedy. All right, the next thing we're going to watch. Sarge says the corporations have no choice. They always need larger returns. Yeah, and when they can't get that, they have to break free and get rid of the people that are not carrying the weight. So they fire the companies. This is why corporations fire all the time. And people are like, oh, it's going to be a bloodbath. Well, they didn't hit the corporate deadline. They didn't hit the quarterly figures that they had to get. They didn't do their job. Whatever that was projected. And even when they hit the job, they're like, well, that took a longer to hit. They were supposed to hit that number in 5 months. It took them 7. We got to get rid of them. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about, Microsoft thinks you're dumb. They're forcing you to do this, okay? This is from Clownfish TV. Linked in the description down below.
So remember how a couple of months ago Microsoft said they were not going to force people to use Copilot? They were.
Yes, I remember that. Remember when I said no, they're moving ahead and they want everyone to use Copilot.
We're going to kind of cool their heels on the whole Copilot AI thing because they're listening, right? They heard us. They heard users. Users don't want to use it unless they want to use it. Well, now they're walking that back. Now Copilot is going to be shoved into everything. I told you this was going to happen. This was a temporary reprieve because they got a lot of backlash because Copilot wasn't show ready. I don't think it's still show ready. I'm seeing it come up with some pretty weird results, but they have spent metric tons of money on AI.
I love how they make the announcement just a couple days ahead. It says the rollout paused earlier this year after complaints is scheduled to resume on July 1st. Surprise! No, they weren't going to put Copilot and stuff, right? Now, they're not putting it in the console, at least not yet anyway.
They're not going to let you get away with not using their slop. Microsoft is going to force you to use its slop. They have to. The company's future depends on it. This is how they justify the expense to the shareholders. Everybody.
That's because they're greedy, and they didn't hit the greedy market. They didn't hit the greedy numbers. And because they didn't hit the greedy numbers, now they have to mask panic and force things on people.
Everybody has to use Copilot, even if you don't want to use Copilot. So we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, check out the audio version of Clownfish TV if you haven't done so already on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon, wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify. And if you'd like to support us and you'd
I should do that. I should put advertisements of my own stuff on my channel.
like episodes that are a little too spicy for YouTube, you can go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's more.clownfishtv.com for more episodes that are not on YouTube, not on Spotify. So thank you very much for that. Pirate Nation has it. Microsoft is facing backlash as it once again sets to automatically install Microsoft.
As it is once again to... Yeah, he forgot to set to. Backlash as it is once again set to automatically install
Microsoft 365 Copilot on eligible Windows PCs with Microsoft 365 apps. Users say Microsoft should not add apps without asking first. I agree 100%. The rollout.
No, it's always an opt-out. We've talked about this in the past. I hate that shit. Let me opt in. Don't make me opt out. Don't automatically sign me up or put me into something. Right? Let me sign up, not try to get out.
Paused earlier this year after complaints is scheduled to resume on July 1st. They are going to keep shoving this down your throat until you accept it.
Altern says you should put ads in your own things. Let's start with one. Hey, 30, where can I get that shirt? Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Altern. You can get this shirt in the description down below in the Shopify. It's not Shopify. It's I don't even know what the fucking shirt company's called because we switched shirt companies. But the link is in the description down below. You see, I don't even know. I don't even do advertisements for my stuff, but you can go in the link in the description down below and you can buy a shirt just like this. This is called The Plan's the Plan until it's not the plan. It's a great quote from the great Asha Sharma. That's what Mo would say, the great Asha Sharma. It's not what I'm saying. But go buy a shirt. Very comfortable.
Pretty much forced us all to update to Windows 11. And then Windows 11 was riddled with Copilot. And they were going to go all in. They walked it back because people hated it. They walked it back because Windows 11 broke.
Right. People don't like us. Quick. What do we do? Let's just say we're not putting Copilot on anything. Thanks, Jenkins. That's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna put Copilot. We'll put it in later, and we'll just spring it on them. Don't worry about it. We'll sell millions and millions of other Windows things and force people to go to Windows 11, and then we'll just implement it and force everyone to do it.
Because I'm hearing they more or less vibe coded the last couple of updates, broke a lot of people's computers. A lot of people jump ship to Linux. Most normies, though, don't know anything about Linux. They don't know what it is, how to install it, how to use it.
That's one good thing about the Steam machine. And
So they're kind of stuck with Microsoft. And this is the thing. When you're a monopoly like Microsoft, you can pretty much get away with whatever you want to do, right? Your PC is not your PC. It is a vessel. It is a vessel for Microsoft. That is what it is. Microsoft has confirmed that the automatic installation will not apply to customers in the European Economic Area, including all EU countries, due to regional rules.
That's right. Due to the rules. Because their government had to put it in the actual rules to make it happen. There's no consumer protection here in the United States. So, just go ahead. We're going to force everyone to do it.
Well, maybe we need those rules here. Some of the replies: since I started using my PC, I've never used any of these.
I got rid of all this stuff off my computer.
Yeah, all the Microsoft 365 apps. Just what every PC needs. More forced Copilot spam nobody asked for. Thanks, Microsoft. Yeah, this is right here. This is everything. The Android root advocate. 2009.
Yeah, look, my computer, this PC. Yeah, this is my computer, and now it's not my computer anymore. It's this PC. It
was my computer. Now it's called this PC in 2026. Like I said, to Microsoft, your computer that you purchased is just a vessel for their AI. And that's where all these companies want to go eventually. They want you to lease your computing power from them. You're not actually going to own your computer. You're going to lease it. And Amazon let that slip out.
Yep.
It was a month or two ago. They basically were talking about cloud computing and the fact that we're not talking.
Oh, but no, you can't do cloud computing, Clownfish, because the infrastructure is just not there yet. It's just not there yet.
About storing your files. We're talking about your actual computer being something you subscribe to.
It's a slave machine. You're going to have a master, and your computer basically is a slave machine where, yes, you still have the internet, you still have all the stuff, but you're getting it from someone else's computer. Sort of like NVIDIA GeForce Now type of thing, right? You can have a shitty computer. You can play GeForce Now on your computer, which is a better computer, streaming the game to your thing while you're playing it.
And then you just have an interface at home. I mean, it kind of is that way with the internet if you think about it. But we are getting further and further away from owning our stuff, whether it's computers or video games or hell, comic books if you read them digitally, or your software. You don't own that. You subscribe to Adobe now, and that's what these companies want because they want recurring revenue. If you buy a hard
what's that word? Recurring revenue.
Copy, if you buy a physical copy of something once and you use it until the freaking wheels fall off, figuratively speaking, of course, you're not going to buy more. And if an older version of your thing that you're selling is superior to the new version, see also Dungeons and Dragons, you've got your old books. You're not going to buy the new books.
Right.
But they want you to subscribe to it. So you have to give them revenue every month. That's how
they want to do the least amount as possible. This is why you don't have a GTA hard copy. And this is why you have a digital. They want you digital. They want to be able to control you, take your stuff. And most people are like, I don't care. I just want to play the game. I just want to use the program. I just want to do. And then the few people that are left that want physical stuff, they're shunned, right? They're looked at as the weirdos. They're like, well, I don't care. You want the, they're just like, I just want to own my stuff. Get over it, Buttercup. You're not going to own anything.
It works. That's what their business plan is. And they're saying that on the Xbox side too. They're talking they might sell Xbox because they don't know what to do with it, how to monetize it. They don't want to be responsible for making hardware. And, they're talking that they want it to be a subscription service. Everything is a subscription service.
Everything.
And it sucks, right?
Yeah, no, Jesse, we can't use the word greed. It's not greed. It's market conditions. It's opportunity. It's opportunity to get more money. That's what we'll call it.
Microsoft strikes again. Time for everyone to rage quit their apps. This person said, switch while you still can. Linux, yes. All right, that's it. I'm done. Linux it is, says Nick the Ripper. I'd rather not be able to play certain games than deal with this effing bloated bullshit anymore. Actually, Nick, I will tell you, as someone who has a dedicated gaming PC running Linux, I have not had any problems with any games that I play. I haven't had any problems whatsoever. All the games I play run just fine. This person says,
Are any of you guys running Linux? Are any of you guys running Linux on your gaming PCs?
I've uninstalled or disabled Copilot many times. It gets redded when my Windows updates. Copilot integration was the tipping point for my friend who's now on Linux. Nobody wants this shit on our PCs. Yeah, I've uninstalled it multiple times and it always manifests.
Isn't that crazy? Delete it multiple times and it just comes back.
Just like I've turned off automatic updates on Windows and it still updates. That does not happen on Linux. They ask you every time you turn your computer on, do you want to update? No? Okay, that's okay. It's your computer. You're allowed to use your computer the way you want to use your computer. Microsoft is like, no. It's our computer.
Yeah.
You're just a renter.
Which is crazy because Microsoft didn't sell you the computer. They didn't sell you the computer. They just put their software on the computer.
Corey says, me a 20.
You know what? If I get Windows on my computer, my new computer or whatever, if I buy a new computer, I want a discount if I have to have Windows. I want a discount.
20-year Mac user looking at these Windows posts, almost feeling pity for the Windows plebs. I, too, was a dedicated Mac user. I used Macs exclusively from the mid-90s through, I want to say, 2015. And then I switched over to Windows because it was more economical. I'm like, well, I can buy 3 Windows rigs for the cost of 1 Mac.
I used to be a Mac user for decades. And then they screwed me over after Steve Jobs died and Tim Cook took over. The whole customer service thing failed. They did a faulty thing on the iMacs. I forget what the logic board like burnt out like 1 year after I had the computer. They wouldn't fix it. It took them 3 years to get back to me, and then they only gave me like $500 to fix it. I told them to go fuck themselves, and then this is why I got a PC.
And I can get a lot more done, and I can save money. And all the apps I use, they have them for Windows now, and I kind of regret that. Part of the reason I switched to was actually games, because there weren't a lot of games on Mac at that point in time. I remember Aspire Media was like the only company putting games out for us back in the day. Amazing how the U.S. citizens get treated like the ultimate cucks. Yeah. Guys, the post says you have only 1 week to switch to Linux and time is running out. It says autistic ice cream. Slade says, who would have guessed? Now we just need the person to come out and apologize. I'm going to say person. Come out and apologize and tell us it was an accident bug. Yeah, well, that's what they're doing. They keep saying, oh, this is just an accident. It was a bug. No, they got caught. What
was a bug that they said they weren't going to put Copilot on there and now they are?
Caught. That's what this whole thing is about. And it's really about pumping up the numbers on their AI so they can go to their investors and be like, look, I know we burnt trillions of dollars, but look at all the people using our AI and their products now. They didn't have a choice, but they're all using our AI and their products. So this is
right. It's not a bug; it's a feature.
Let's see here. I'll go with this version. This is coming from Windows latest. Microsoft says it'll force install Microsoft 365 Copilot on Windows 11 with Microsoft 365 Business in the next 30 days. Despite public pushback and what appeared to be a bit of contrition on Microsoft's part regarding its forceful embedding of 365 Copilot, it now seems the company is back to its old ways. Depending on which version of Office you happen to be on, you may have noticed that 365 Copilot components are creeping back into your productivity suite, even if you do not actively use them. I have deleted them 3 or 4 times. And I don't even use Microsoft 365. I actually had to install as much as I could from that. I don't use it. I use the Google apps, but yeah, which is much better. I'm going to be honest. It's not much better now. They're shoving AI and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
In an update to its admin portal, Microsoft quietly confirmed that the 365 Copilot app will auto-install on eligible Windows PCs with Microsoft 365 desktop apps.
Get off of my shit. If I don't allow you to go on my computer, you don't get to just force yourself on the computer. That's digital rape. Just saying. I'm just saying you're forcing yourself upon my computer. It's digital. It's digital rape.
But he says admins will need to opt out if they do not want the 365 Copilot app to automatically appear on devices in their organization. Most people are not going to think to do that. Microsoft plans to roll out the 365 Copilot app to eligible Windows devices with 365.
I'm not eligible. I don't want you, right? I don't want you on my system. I'm saying no. No means no. I don't want you on my system.
365 desktop apps between mid-June and mid-July. You'll automatically notice the MS365 Copilot app as the activation or installation is enabled by default and does not require your interaction. Yeah, we're just going to brick your PC, turn it off, and when it comes back online, it's going to have all kinds of micro slop in it. If you're based in Europe, you don't have to worry about it. This is what they said in an updated document spotted by Windows latest. Starting in June 20.
If they don't have to do it in Europe because of rules and regulations, right? It says based in the European, he's going to read it, but you will notice that any changes as the enter exempt. Starting on June 2026, we'll resume automatic installations of Microsoft 365 Copilot app eligible devices with Microsoft 365 desktop apps. Microsoft noted that the update document spotted by Windows latest has changed, simplifies access to Copilot to ensure users can easily discover and engage with productivity enhancing features. I don't want it.
2026, we will resume the automatic installation of the Microsoft 365 Copilot app to eligible devices with the 365 desktop apps, Microsoft noted in an updated document spotted by Windows latest. This change simplifies access to Copilot and ensures users can easily discover and engage with productivity-enhancing features. Translation, the shareholders have concerns. They're concerned that we're not all in on AI, and they want us to be all in on AI, which is another reason that they might sell Xbox, just to toss it overboard so they can focus on AI and let that be somebody else's problem, because they're literally at this point subsidizing Xbox with Microsoft. I have to wonder, are we going to get to a place where Microsoft could crumble?
Good question. It's a good question. I know it sounds ridiculous. Could Microsoft crumble? There's been big companies before that have failed. No company's too big to fail. I mean, Rome failed. The biggest civilization ever. It failed. If that could fail, Microsoft could fail. I don't even care if it's a $1 trillion company. If they have people in place that are making stupid decisions, and the people, which is us, chat, decide that they do not want to deal with this, then we decide what companies live or die. It's what it is. That's how it's always been. We, the people, the buyers of the stuff, this is why people want brand loyalty, and I have no loyalty to no brands. Okay? So it'll be very interesting, right? It'll be very interesting to see. Yeah, look at the history of IBM. Yeah, IBM back in the 80s. If you told me IBM would fail, no one would believe you. But look what happened. I know so many, when I was a kid, I had so many people, because they had a big, huge corporate down in Boca Raton. IBM was huge then. Had so many families that worked there, right? Friends, families and stuff worked there. And then they all got shit canned. All got fired. All got pushed. I think it moved out over to Texas, if I'm not mistaken, at the time, right? And they all lost their jobs, or they all have to move, and then the whole bank, the whole company. It's a good question. Is Microsoft going to fail?
And don't
Not Xbox, the company Microsoft.
say it's not possible. We've had massive internet tech giants crumble. Remember America Online? Yeah, like everybody went through it. Remember MySpace?
Yep.
It could happen to any one of
MySpace
these
was big, but
companies
not
at any point in time. All it's going to take is for enough people to say, you know what, I'm done. And for somebody to come along with something better.
Well, and not even a colossal fuck up, Krebsy. Literally just people get fed up. People just get fed up. They're just like, I'm done. It'll be crazy. I never say never. And you're absolutely right. It could be a colossal fuck up that would do it. But if people just go, no, I'm done with this. I don't need this. Like, think about this for a second. Think about if a big EMP just happens and completely wipes out the grid of electronics. What happens to Microsoft? What happens to all these electronic companies, whatever, right? They would try to get it back up as fast as possible. But real quick, we the people would be like, I haven't had electricity in a week. I haven't had a computer. Just move on. No company is too big to fail. Just enough. 0 companies are too big to fail.
Be like, I want to own my PC. I want to own my data. I don't want this stuff shoved on my PC if I don't want it. And again, I'm not anti-AI by any stretch of the imagination, but I do believe people should have, especially if you bought your computer and you're paying for your software.
Somebody, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but somebody will grow up. It might be one of your sons or daughters. They grow up to a point and they're like, I'm going to make an alternative. I'm going to make an alternative to this, right? I don't want to use this anymore. And someone comes up with something different, right? And then gets in the market and changes stuff. Could happen. And then all of a sudden, Microsoft is no longer here.
Where you should have the option to turn the shit off if you don't want it. Because sometimes most...
Yeah, but what you're saying there just enough. You're saying that Google Sheets and Mac word processing is trash. Correct. But that's why Microsoft has succeeded, right? These companies didn't want to compete. They just make the bare minimum to get in the market. This is the exact same thing Epic's doing with Steam. They didn't want to compete with They didn't want to compete with Steam, so they just got in the market. You can get stuff from their browser or from their launcher, okay? But it's not competing with Steam. They're trying to bring them down instead of trying to compete. If you don't like this, I don't like this. Somebody with the means or the drive can come up with something and compete. That way you're not limited to this.
Times it makes it harder. It takes up more resources. It gets things wrong. It's not quite there yet, right? I said, well, Microsoft may not be re-rolling out the carpet for the return of its AI models with a prominent banner. You might have noticed that the Copilot button has reappeared in many Office experiences, including ribbons, sidebars, and cloud-based Copilot entry points after recent updates. To be clear, this rollout is for 365. The 365
IBM
Copilot
had all
app
the
itself, but it comes at a time.
IBM literally had all the military contracts and stuff back in the day.
But when Microsoft is also pushing Copilot entry points across Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, and Microsoft 365 on the web. You cannot escape Microslop. If you're using a Windows PC, you're running Windows, they will force it down your throat.
Yep.
The only way to avoid using it at this point is to jump ship to another operating system.
Well, good luck to you. Where are you going? Where are you going to go for a new operating system? This is why Microsoft has you by the balls.
Because it's here to stay. If you hate it, you need to go elsewhere. I recommend Linux. I'm just saying Linux Mint's a great one if you're not used to using it. It's pretty much just like Windows, but it works. It's like Windows.
To ask a normie to jump to Linux, Sarge, is like asking mom or dad to put their iPhone down to grab an Android phone. They would look at it like it's an alien device.
Does worked all the time. If you happen to journey beyond one of several convoluted Microsoft opt-out options, yeah, they do that. They make it as hard to opt out as possible. And actually, Adobe got sued for that.
You shouldn't have to opt out. It should be an opt-in.
Adobe got sued for that because they were charging people a kill fee to cancel their subscriptions to Adobe, making it as hard as possible for people to opt out. And if you head directly through the registry to permanently...
It's actually a good example. Adobe was one of the biggest and best programs out there. You would pay like $200, $300 for the whole thing, but then they started doing the monthly subscription type of stuff, right? So many people left. They were like, I'm gone. Other people made alternatives. Okay? And there's other competition out there. Is Adobe still big? Absolutely. But because of their greed, okay, other people stepped up and made a product, maybe because they wanted to be greedy as well, or just to give competition so not everyone was, handcuffed to Adobe.
Excise the ghost of Copilot, it may still not be enough. Oh my God, hold on. Wait. I got to reread this. Even if you try to opt out and you try to go through the registry to permanently get rid of Copilot, it may not be enough. Registry tweaks are not the cleanest or most reliable way to manage 365 Copilot, especially in an organization. Their supported controls are now scattered across the 365 apps, admin center, integrated apps, office privacy settings, and
They make it super hard so you can't disable it.
per app toggles until Microsoft wises up and allows for a simple permanent user-facing removal of Copilot from Microsoft 365. There are a handful of old and new ways to fight the onslaught of Microsoft's AI push. Remove it from select apps. You play whack-a-mole. Go File, Options, Copilot,
seriously, that's what you have to
enable
do.
Copilot checkbox, and then you turn it off. Wow, you have to go to privacy settings and turn it off. Remove Copilot from Office apps ribbon, custom ribbon, toggle off Copilot.
These fuckers made it in every single folder, so you have to go to like 5 different places to do it.
So you have to turn Copilot off like all over the damn place to get rid of it completely. There is no easy off switch for Copilot, and that's by design.
They're like, oh, by the way, we saw you deleted it. We reinstalled it. It might have been a mistake because you only deleted it from one section. You're welcome.
Restore classic Microsoft 365 without Copilot. God, I wish I could go back to Windows 10. You know,
I'm on Windows 10.
I should just go
But there's going to be a time where I can't use Windows 10 anymore.
back to Windows 10. Group policy blocking. They're making it as hard
Look
as
at this.
possible.
You have to go to 6 different places.
Nuclear firewall block, I would avoid it. You may see guides recommending firewall blocks for Copilot. This is not a clean or reliable Copilot-only switch. Open Windows Defender Firewall, choose advanced settings, create outbound.
And our government here in the United States won't fight this because they want access to your computers.
Rules only if you know exactly which Microsoft 365 services you're willing to break. Oh my God. Good luck with all this. This is going to piss off people. This is going to piss off IT guys like crazy. They're going to be like, yeah, screw this. And I know some like entire countries are switching to Linux now because they're like, this is a liability. And we also have, privacy concerns and all that. So there we go, guys. If you're using Windows at all, they're going to force you to like the Copilot. And if you don't like the Copilot, you're out of luck, I guess. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We will talk later.
Windows is like consoles when you look at Linux.
Windows is like consoles when you're looking at Linux. Yeah, you're saying, I would assume you're saying like consoles are like Apple for mobile phones, right? Linux is the Android. Linux is the Linux, Android, and just in general, like people that build PCs compared to pre-built PCs type of thing. People want convenience, so they get Windows. People want convenience, so they get Apple. People want convenience, so they get the other thing. Mr. G says, 30 reminds me of the other Sony failures, SoundForge, Vegas, Acid Music. I love those apps before Sony ownership. Yeah. People make stuff because they don't want to pay. Look, Final Cut was a huge thing, right? There was I forget what the other program was called. There was another program that I used that I got trained on back in like 2002. I can't think of it now. I can't think of the actual program. It was before Final Cut. Final Cut came in, right? And you used to be able to just buy Final Cut. It was very expensive back in the day, right? You had to get the license. You had the whole giant book series and stuff like that. And then they went to the subscription model type of stuff, right? And then other people started making other programs to compete with that as well. It wasn't. I'm trying to think of the editing software I used. It was the industry standard before Final Cut came in. Pill says I installed Linux on my bedroom PC after like 3 years of not running Linux. It's so odd, even browsing around in your own system. It's so much more demanding. I would just pirate Sony Vegas and Photoshop. I need Linux to be able to enable easy anti-cheat. When it happens a lot, gamers can go also on the Steam and Bassett and also forget Windows. Well, the problem is a lot of people, until they make it easier, Altern, this is what we're stuck with. And the problem with that, though, is like, you want to put this stuff on my system? Fantastic. But let me opt in. This is to anything. don't automatically put it where it's automatically on. You could remind me and be like, hey, you want this? Be like, no, I'm not interested. Let me opt in. Right? But they don't want to do that. They would rather just be sneakily in the background the entire time. It might have been Avid. Yes, it was Avid. It was Avid. That was the industry standard back then. Man, we've come a long way since then. I'm just trying to think what we used to be using back then. That's crazy. And then Final Cut was a thing, and now I don't even know because I don't really follow Mac anymore or Apple anymore. Is Final Cut still the big thing, or have they changed it, or is it still the? I think that's the industry standard now. To be honest with you. Sarge says, just resource hogging your memory for every little thing. That's Microsoft's bread and butter. Well, the bread and butter is the subscription for 365. I don't use any of that shit. I don't want it on my computer. It's just stupid. It's like, why do you have to make it so hard? All right, we got one more story here. Which is, sorry. I don't know why it's not going down. Valve says the company is making RAM give them a price, and if they say no, they never talk to us again. That sounds about right. Sounds about right in any industry. All right, if you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay. It says it sounds like a lot of the cartel. Well, you wouldn't be the first person to point that out. In a recent interview, Valve says that when buying a PC memory from the few big companies that produce the stuff globally, it basically has no choice but to take the price offered each month because they try to negotiate would likely lead to the DRAM makers cutting them off completely. Remember that analogy I used with Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right? With the three chocolatiers, and Willy Wonka's trying to sell his chocolate. That's what this is, right? Just picture that for big business. There's three companies that block off everything else, and if you don't like what they're doing, well, then they kind of strong arm you out, right? Valve's Steam Machine is in the process of launching, but while the mini PC running Steam OS seems like a cool evolution of the Steam Deck idea, the $1,000 price tag is hard for many to swallow. A big reason why Valve has also charged $1,050 for the base version of the Steam Machine is the small collection of companies that produce the DRAM, which is an important part of the computers, phones, and consoles, and greatly limiting the folks on who aren't affiliated with the AI hyperscalers, and even the purchase of their changing prices monthly. Valve can't even get a contract with any of the DRAM makers, the company claimed during the recent interview with Gamers Nexus. It says, quote, "Look, there's no contracts," said Valve employee. "There's nothing. Like those guys, they are to give a price every month or something, and they say, and you can buy that many. And if yes or no. And if you say no, then they never talk to us again." Right now, I do not understand how we do not have our own manufacturer in the United States. Mind-boggling to me. All right, I understand they're building. Semiconductors and stuff like that, right? The fact that we're in 2026 and no one thought about this, they're like, yeah, we get all our stuff over there, is mind-boggling to me. But I'm sure it's not because of greed. I'm sure it's not because of greed. It says this isn't a joke. It's not hyperbole. Okay, this is what they actually said. And GN mentioned the same is happening to companies like Skill, who also have been selling RAM to customers for decades. Okay, because of the limited supply of pricing options, some Steam machines will ship with the one stick of 16 gigabyte RAM, and the others will ship with the 8 gigabyte RAM, which is an idea. Okay, the Valve explained that this is their testing and didn't cause any noticeable difference in performance. The situation, which some online suggest sounds like a lot of the organized crime rings extorting victims, makes it hard for Valve and other tech companies to build up the stock and accurately budget months or even years in advance. But DRAM makers like Micron and Samsung seamlessly don't care, because all these companies have become laser focused on producing private PC memory to AI hyperscalers and data centers, as those clients are buying massive amount a month in advance. And these are much more profitable business plan. Some of the DRAM makers are just straight up done customer memory products entirely. Keep in mind, many of these same DRAM makers were once caught up in their own largest illegal business cartels ever discovered by the U.S. government over 25 years ago. Just a fun fact to store in your brain. So they found this out 25 years ago, and yet here we are. Amazing. At a point about Gamers Nexus, even the company like G-Skill, which is focused almost entirely on making RAM for customers, is struggling to buy the parts it needs because it's not a big enough player in the space anymore compared to OpenAI. So it's not shocking that the Valve can't negotiate for better rates or for DRAM. And the situation shows no signs of getting better, and the companies continue to invest heavily into AI data centers. So prepare to pay more and more for computers and consoles for foreseeable future, and don't count on DRAM makers in China saving us all from horrible situations. Man, I mean, this just pushes me where I guess I'll stream and play games until the things don't work anymore. And then once they don't work anymore, I guess I'm just going to go live in the land. Like, I'm just going to go mind my own business and be happy, because this sounds awful. This sounds awful. Right? The fact that we're held hostage because of the small place that's making all of the stuff is being taken over for data centers and whatnot is so fucking stupid. So stupid. Right? Because you have to make stuff, tons and tons of stuff. Okay? Have to make tons and tons of stuff to bring the price down. And they're like, well, yeah, we're giving good prices to this, but we're raising the prices because they need us, right? Not us. I'm talking about the data centers, right? The data centers want the stuff. The makers of the stuff are like, well, these guys are getting charged more, and we could charge them whatever we want. Oh, this guy wants something? Yeah, we could charge them 3 times more, 5 times more than we're charging these other guys, because it's a small. We have to take our time because we're working on this job right now, and we have to go make them for their thing. So we'll charge them an exponential price, right? They get their money. These companies make their money. And then we lose out. So the only way it changes is no one fucking buys it. Nobody fucking buys it. Nothing. And I'll be like, well, we got to put it on sale because no one's buying the stuff. No one's buying computers. No one's buying the stuff. But that's easier said than done, isn't it? Jesse Mack says, we are in 2026. No one knows about the situation, new technology every single day, and they don't even know if to build a new frameworks of a new hardware. What the fuck are we even talking about? That's exactly right, Jesse. Is because the people are lining their pockets because they have deals. And I know we don't talk about politics and stuff on the air, but you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention, right? People don't want to listen to people in suits talk, okay, because they think it doesn't affect them. But it 100% affects them. Crab just says, I would say at least Elon is building a terafab of the only Elon companies and not the public. The good old RAM mafia. They did this in the late 90s too. Yeah, but for some reason, they're like, it's not going to happen again. Saint says, get a nice gas-powered four-wheeler or side-by-side before those prices jump. It's fucking crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy that the fact that, remember during COVID and stuff like that, they're like, oh, well, the semiconductors, like car companies couldn't make cars because of the chips. And they're like, well, we're like 6 months, 18 months behind, and we're building another factory. It's going to take 6 years. Well, we're getting to the point like next year or 2 years from now, they're going to open up these factories to make semiconductors. Okay. But what's happening with the RAM? Why isn't somebody else making RAM. I know why. Because if someone tried to open up a RAM company, it would have to go through all these regulations, and the government would want to have their hands in the pocket. And they're like, well, we can't do it because we're not doing mass productions, and so on and so forth. If someone made something like that to compete with them, it would drive the price down. Sarge, does nobody remember that we had the 360 for 11 years because of the same situation? Fucking crazy. Absolutely crazy. Price is going up, just nonstop, keep going up. Dupla says because it's more profitable to send to AI data centers. Well, yeah, because they're charging. And here's the thing, right? Obviously, I'm using Suno to make the music, but that's not what's driving the cost up. You driving the cost up by making a data center, or I'm sorry, for what's happening for people making videos on YouTube and stuff like that. Sure, that has circumstances to it. But all these people that are buying the AI centers and doing all this stuff, and that's where it's going. Ron says cloud gaming sooner than you think. Not sooner than I think. Not sooner than I think, Ron. Right? All of these places are there's tons and tons of companies using AI. And that's why they're doing it. AI mainly for companies of Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, eats up 1/3 of all chips. Yeah, it's crazy. Looks like I'm sticking with my computer. Looks like I'm sticking with my Xbox. Looks like I don't give a shit. Not buying any new hardware anytime soon. Sarge says, look up what the data centers can generate for a company in terms of revenue. You'll lose your shit. Yeah, it's like $1 billion a month for just rent. Well, Dupless, we all know you hate Elon. It's not just Elon that's making these problems. And mind you, Elon's actually has solutions to this stuff. These other companies, there's no solutions. Sam says you should have left these companies mining crypto. Water says, there, you'll buy a new Xbox and PlayStation 6. You'll love it. That's what they say. Krebsy says, Elon should open up a semiconductor plant on the moon and use the starfall to send those semiconductors back to Earth. Here comes the next thing. Oh, it's a meteor shower. No, it's not. It's the next delivery from SpaceX. Travis says, have we discussed how a roguelike racer is a bad idea? No, I haven't looked at any of the information of that. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. Elite Sony Pony says, hello. What's going on, Elite Sony Pony? What solution does Elon have for AI RAM problem? He's probably building his own plant, I would assume, considering he's building his own city, his own rocket company, his own car company. I don't know. Water says, I thought Travis was the Elite Sony Pony. Well, now he's got the actual Elite Sony Pony here. So Travis can no longer be the Elite Sony Pony. Why put it off till tomorrow? What you can do today? Well, it's easy. Don't want to talk about it today. So I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. Maybe. See, unlike Windows, I don't need to opt out of the stories that people submit. I can opt into any story that I choose to. Krebs says Elon plans to build a terafab at 100 million foot plant that makes chips for Tesla and SpaceX. That's crazy. 100 million foot plant. Jesus Christ. I am not elite. I'm not hyped. Right? Let me make that more clear. I'm glad that Grand Theft Auto is coming out, but as the years have gone by, we haven't had a game in 13 years, right? 13 years, maybe 14 by the time this comes out in November. I'm excited for Grand Theft Auto to be out for people, but I'm not excited for myself, right? One, I don't like that the industry itself was waiting for Grand Theft Auto, or I should say Rockstar and Take-Two, to come out with Grand Theft Auto, because they said it last year. They're waiting for them to make the $80 video game. And now because they have the $80 video game, it's going to change the landscape of the gaming industry for the worse, because now other game companies are going to think that that's the standard. Okay. Krebsy was just talking about earlier, I don't know if it was a post or something, but investors of Rockstar are upset because the standard's on $100 for the video game, right? So that part, I don't like $80, $90, $100 video games. So I'm not really too excited about that. I am excited to see Grand Theft Auto 6 come out, but I will not be getting it. I will not be getting it. I will not be pre-ordering. We don't pre-order. I'm not getting it day one. I'm not getting it week one. I'll get it down the line. Or maybe never. I'm good. I don't need it. I didn't need it for 13 years. I don't need it now. I love Rockstar. One of my favorite games of all time is Red Dead Redemption 2. So all AI companies should be required to power themselves. It's costing us much to foot of a footprint. Well, foot the bill. There's been so many complaints of there's like birds dying, the noise complaints of when they build these factories or data centers and stuff. People like losing water because they're pumping the water into these plants. There's a lot going on with these things behind the scenes. Yeah, I'm glad people are excited. I will never yuck on someone's yum. You know what I'm saying? There's no physical version, just a code in a box. That's crazy. Let's see here. It's not even going to be 60 frames on console. Well, I mean, it's going to be 60 frames, I think, on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X under performance, is it not? I guess we could wait to hear as it gets closer. Technically, GTA 6 is being sold cheaper than GTA 5. $60 in 2013 is $86 today. What's your minimum wage, Krebsy? Has it gone up as much as inflation as the price of what you're making today as you did in 2013? It's a rumor. Will be no confirmation yet. Got it. Ghost Dupless says there's a mass amount of pollution caused by the centers. Noise pollution, people getting sick, water pollution. Yeah, that's what I just said. Just Enough says we're going to have rolling brownouts, if not blackouts, pretty soon. Do you live in Texas? Do you live in Texas, Just Enough? Because in Texas, they have rolling brownouts all the time and stuff like that. I think Elon in Brownsville, where he's building his city, I think he has his self-contained system. Like he's building his own power plant and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken. here's the thing, right? You're saying I can't wait for the PlayStation 6 next year. I can't imagine. I mean, obviously people are going to buy it, right? People are going to buy the Steam machine at $1,000 and whatnot. The problem I see, and what I'm about to say, people won't see until 5 years, 6 years until the next cycle of the console. So like 10 years basically from now, right? Or 7 years from now, or whenever the game comes out, right? Or the system comes out. The game system comes out, if it's $1,000, like the Steam machine or more, okay, you're going to get the Keeping Up with the Joneses buying that system, but then it's going to hurt the industry, because if the industry is the only way to play games is to pay over $1,000 for a system, okay, the closer that number gets to PCs, the worse off it is for consoles. The reason consoles did so well in the past is because they were so much cheaper than what PCs were. As the consoles get more and closer to PCs, less and less people are going to buy them, because they can just buy a PC. And if they buy a PC, then the only reason they're buying the other console is for first-party titles. And if they're buying it for first-party titles only, that's way hell of expensive for just first-party title games, right? Because they're not buying it for third-party games anymore, because you can get third-party games on the other systems. So what's going to happen is, as the systems come out, the next Xbox, the next PlayStation, the next Nintendo, that price is just going to keep going up higher and higher, which is going to price out majority of the people that used to play video games. It's just what it is. They can't afford to buy a $1,000 system and then buy a $100 video game. So slowly what's going to happen is it's going to be like in reverse. You're starting to go back down to what it was when we first started gaming. When we first started gaming, it was like 8, 10, 12 million, 15 million people that were buying a Nintendo. And that was it. That was the gamers. Well, that's what's going to happen in the high-end type of stuff. People that want to buy the games, okay, are going to be in the tens of millions instead of the hundreds of millions. Now, gaming will go to this. Will go to the cell phone more. It'll go to cloud gaming more, where people won't buy the actual consoles. They'll just pay it on the cloud. They'll pay a monthly subscription, okay? That's what's going to happen with the prices of these consoles going out, at least in my opinion. What's a brownout? No, it's for power, to conserve energy. Basically, what happens is certain people in certain sections lose power. Dupless. Elite says, I think it'll be the end of PC gaming. Oh, no. PC gaming will explode even more. RAM starts in 2026 as $100, will end 2026 at $340. It's rough. Jesus. Mr. G says the system will be viewed as a premium choice. I think Sony was also worrying about how many people will buy it. PlayStation 4 is viable. The Sony handheld, dockable, will be the lesser power choice. Yeah, in California it happens a lot too. They do brownouts. Yeah, PC gaming's been on a rise. It's going to explode if consoles get high. Kleb says, yeah, but PC gaming, you don't have to play AAA games, right? Or AAA prices, because most games that come out, and again, 10,000, 15,000, 19,000, over 20,000 games come out every single year. Yet console sales keep going down and down every single generation. But then we have deniers that don't believe that. Clip says, give her 2 or 3 years and I guarantee you both of those games will be on PC. Sure. I agree. Correct, Krebsy. Hence why I say that you're going to be playing games in the cloud through a subscription service, because the prices will be going up and you won't be able to afford it. Z says PC is the power of the Series S. This will also be go now. We have Switch 2. Oh, we have Elite says it'll never come. Well, we never say never here because every time someone says never, it always happens. Make sure you stick around 3 years from now. I'll remember you. Not. You can't say, but who knows? You said never. Never say never. Dupla says, the console games are made on PC, right? No games have ever developed on console. Every time they see gameplay showcase of your previous plastic or precious plastic boxes, it's on PC. That's true, but they have favoritism. Devs prefer their games to be played on the console. Sure. Until sales don't go up. And then they're like, well, we're not selling enough. Because the people that would have bought the game that don't own a PlayStation own a PC, and they'll buy it over there. If it's 2 million extra people or 3 million extra people, the people on the actual consoles are not buying all the full, like the first party title games. Like Sony has 93 million people that own a console, and yet 5 million, 6 million people are only the ones that buy the first party title game. Some of them are 3 million copies. Clip says, I remember when the devs said that Spider-Man would never be on anything but the PlayStation. Yep. Aku says console is slowly dying between poor performance and price. The next couple of generations are going to hurt both Sony and Microsoft. Microsoft probably less due to its hybrid Helix platform. We'll see. They're going to have their own problems. Or I'm not going to touch that, Saint. I'm not going down that. We're not going down that rabbit hole. That Sony, everyone compares Sony to Apple, and you're correct, right? As far as the console market, they're the Apple, but they're nowhere close to what Apple is. But they're going for that high end clientele, which is fine. They have that clientele until they don't. Then they have to figure out other things, right? Like the Apple clientele, with as far as computers and stuff, they had to go to a niche, which is artists, which is filmmaking, music making, stuff like that. That's what Apple was always about. Then they opened up broadly to the rest of the world to try to be, an everyday type of thing. Then they used the iPhone, technically the iPod, into the iPhone to integrate all of that so people would be more accepting to Apple. Because if you have an Apple phone, it would work better with an Apple computer, even though it works with all computers, right? And that's the way they got the Trojan horse into the actual system. They sold the cell phones to get people in where they were still using the stuff, and they're like, oh, it goes really good with that. If all your stuff just syncs up perfectly and talks to the other Apple devices. And that's why Apple was successful, hence why they have the watches and stuff now. All right. It's completely different with Sony. Now, Sony tried to do the exact same thing as far as with the PlayStation, the VR, the VR2, and now the PlayStation Portal, right? Because at the point when those things came out, the sales weren't doing very good because the prices was too high for certain things. Now they're even higher. They had to market towards people that already own the stuff. Like the PSVR 2 came out, you couldn't just get the PSVR 2 to use it as a headset for PC. You had to buy it because you had to buy a $500 PlayStation. So you had to buy a $500 PlayStation, you had to buy a $500 headset just to use the few games, which is like, 12 games on PlayStation for VR. And it didn't really work out well until they made the PSVR 2 headset work with PC. Now you can use that headset with PC. Same with the Portal. The Portal came out. It didn't do anything except that you needed a PlayStation to use the Portal. They were keep selling the peripherals to people that already own the PlayStation because people weren't buying PlayStations. Portal is actually a really good device now, 2.5 years after it came out, okay? Because you actually don't even need a PlayStation anymore. You can just buy games and play them through the cloud or whatever. So yes, they're like Apple and trying to be like Apple, but the difference between Apple and Sony is Sony doesn't have the thing, which is the iPhone, basically, to break through to get other people to get into that market. They're trying to find other ways to get into the market. Aku says 30, 100%. I'm just thinking about how hybriding PC and console will benefit, at least compared to Sony sticking to their platform only. Well, right. And I agree with their platform. I think they shouldn't do what Microsoft does and try to put their stuff day and date on things. I'm okay with them making it first-party title and then putting it on PC a year or two later. That's a smarter business decision. Sony thinks that the people that own a PC are going to go buy a PlayStation. The only reason they would buy it is because they're the fans, the people that want to, either they're going to buy a PlayStation or they'll just wait. Most people wait. Water Bear says this is why it happened. There are roughly 900 million active PC gamers worldwide compared to estimated 65 million to 70 million PlayStation 5s. Aku says, Sony isn't getting better. Their consoles are becoming worse and worse. I've owned every one since the PlayStation 3. I didn't own this one, so I can't tell you that. My favorite one's the PlayStation 2. I hated the PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3 was the worst one, in my opinion. No, Sony doesn't hold a candle to Apple. He's saying that Sony is like Apple. They're going for the high-end market. That's what I was saying. Sony is nowhere near Apple. Dupla says PlayStation 5 hasn't had an actual exclusive for 5 years into its life cycle. Well, now they are. Right, now they got Wolverine. Yote's an exclusive as of right now. Yeah, PlayStation 2 was peak. Hence why it's been downhill ever since. Yeah, I think what's going to happen there, I think they just announced it, right? The Yote just announced like they have like was that Krebsy? Was it 4.8 million sales for Yote? Mr. G says Sony has never had a cheaper TV or sound system either. No, because they're premium. They try to get that as premium. Sony makes good TVs. Sarge. Oh, sorry. All right, let's go to Twitter real fast and see what's anything new on Twitter before we end the show. Sorry. Just seeing anything new, any kind of new stuff. They're already showing, what is that? Underrated. No, it's a PC gaming tower. Helldivers 2 McFarlane Gaming Edition toys coming out for Helldivers 2 because no one's buying the game anymore. So they're like, let's get the figures. What else we got going on here? Nothing else really. Oh, did they extend it? Did they extend Next Fest, or are they done with it? Xbox has added a Xbox handheld compatibility logo to the official store pages now, so now you know if it's officially runs on the handheld device. Prime deal's still going on. Lots of Marvel Rivals stuff. What, are they just doing the swimsuits? Is that what they're doing? Yeah, okay, it's the swimsuit stuff. All right. We'll be back tonight over on Fake Wizard Live over on his channel or their channel, Tom and Fake Wizard at 7 p.m. We do a live news show at 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. Sorry. So come out tonight for that. After that, me and Sarge will be playing Shooting the Shit with Sarge over on 30 and Still Gaming. You could also check out our past broadcasts that we do here. We do this daily grind Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We just have conversations, give news stories, give you my thoughts and opinions. We get your thoughts and opinions as well. Chat is interactive the entire time. I appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Another showcase, another lie, another trail of money can't buy. Marketing teams with panic in their eyes, watching one day swallow up the sky. Publishers hiding, moving release plans, years of development buried in the sand. We'll launch next month, they quietly say, cause nobody wants to die that day. Coffee stain meetings, executives pray, looking at projections, watching profits fade away. The GTA effect, every studio's a nervous wreck. Move your launch date, save yourself. Nothing survives when GTA hits the shelf. It's the GTA effect, years of planning get put in check. One giant shadow over everyone else. Nothing survives when GTA hits the shelf. Servers melting from the weight of the crowd. Every social feed screaming loud. The streamers smile, the sponsors cheer. Every other game disappears. Developers watching from behind the glass, wondering how long the moment will last. 10 years crafting the dream alive. Now they're praying just to survive. Stock prices rising, headlines explode. Everybody's chasing the same digital road. It's the GTA effect, every studio's a nervous wreck. Move your launch date, save yourself. Nothing survives when GTA hits the shelf. It's the GTA effect, years of planning get put in check. One giant shadow